Alrighty, everybody, welcome to the Tuesday show. My name is James Chen, and I am joined by Ultra David and what's wrong, David?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Nice to see you. I hope you all had a good week.
Why am I so short?
I don't know. That's something I've asked many times in the past.
Short.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, we're all dealt different hands. I had a great weekend, and in that weekend, I went to my friend's wedding, which was cool. There were people there from all over, literally the world, including 3 continents. It was awesome. We had a great time. So I didn't play video games at all, but it was very much worth it.
It's like a major.
There we go.
Anyway, how are you, Tabor?
I'm all right, I guess. Swell.
Ebullient as always. And how about you, James?
I'm doing okay. I had some unfortunate news and discoveries just recently that kind of soured me, but
Having a blast like always. Happy to hear it.
Exactly. Everybody is in such a great mood.
Everybody's in great mood.
Except David, dude. David is
it's been a bummer. Oh,
a Debbie Downer.
Hanging out with my old frat and college friends. Oh, terrible time. Here's what we're going to be talking about.
Hanging out with friends. What is that?
I know. We'll be talking about the massive Twitch leak. You guys may have heard about that. Definitely get to that. We'll be covering our thoughts on the Guilty Gear Strive Backyard Developers Update, which gave us a little bit of an insight as to where things are headed. We have an interview with Honzo Gonzo, who's not just an idiot. Believe me. He actually is more than...
Not just an idiot, but also an idiot is what David
I'm telling you, it's
like,
in the grand tradition.
Funny because the way you say that, like the way that the emphasis changes how that sentence goes, right? You could be, he's not just an idiot, or he's not just an idiot.
Thanks, James. I thought I had pretty good timing myself. I appreciate that.
Okay.
5-5 matchup as well.
Jesus, it's gonna be a show.
Indeed. We'll talk about KOF, we'll talk about Nick Brawl, we'll talk about tournament results, and so forth. A bunch of other things as well. But let's start by talking about this massive Twitch leak.
Ugh.
Massive dumps. That's what they call them. Massive dumps.
They call them big, massive dumps.
You want to see some shit, dude? You want to see some shit?
We saw all the shit, James. Literally, every single dollar, we saw it.
Of user data and earnings. Yeah, so it was last week that this happened. If you haven't changed your Twitch passwords and so forth, I highly recommend that you do, just to take care of that. And, in terms of the important stuff that came out about that, do you guys want to talk about the news of it?
Yeah.
What do you guys want to? Yeah, go for it.
I mean, basically, a hacker went in. I forgot what site it was that he dumped it on. Was it 4chan or something like that he dumped the whole thing out? But just took the entire source code behind Twitch and posted it online, as well as all of the earnings data of all of Twitch users in the past 3 years total or something like that. And it just basically went all out there. And, they're suspecting that it might have been an inside job or something like that, because, I mean, getting access to all that code base is not necessarily the easiest thing, but there you go. There was the leak. And, I mean, obviously everyone's like, oh my gosh, all of the Twitch, wait, the earnings? And then everybody went and looked at the earnings to try to find out how much everyone is making. So, but honestly, the Twitch earnings leak really shined an insight onto exactly how the rich get richer problem of Twitch that we talked about last week with the boosting stuff is a huge problem on the website.
Yeah, before we went live, I tried to go to twitchearnings.com, which was previously where that stuff was hosted.
That's taken down.
And it's taken down. Yeah.
There are other sites.
I was going to say, it's probably elsewhere, but...
I haven't been able to find anything. My Google Flu sucks, because I just wanted to prove to myself that I'm not anywhere on the list in the top.
James, you looked. You were not on the list. UltraChen was not on the list. Tupperware, not on the list.
Okay, There you go.
You know who was? That damn Sajam number 1324.
Wow, you got the number and everything? Oh my god.
He's been calling himself that. Also, Mr. 150K. Mr. 150K, that's him.
Good for him.
He's been comparing the numbers to Squid Game. If you guys watch Squid Game, everybody gets their own number. So that's what the Twitch earnings have been compared to. Is everybody's Squid Game number?
Yeah. I see. I mean,
basically,
what's funny about
Sagem definitely doesn't need to go commentate anymore at this one.
No, I mean, first of all, like, congrats to him. I think that's really great. Him and the other people in the FGC who were up there. I didn't check that many, but I definitely checked through a few, and yeah, I was happy to see that they were up there. But I think that the Squid Game comparison, which I have not watched, but I've only read about, so it seems like it may be relevant, because that kind of a model of that Twitch uses, called a tournament model in economics, anyway, that's one of the ways to talk about it. Is where the kind of the earnings are funneled to the top, right? That's this model, and all these people are not making money, aka getting killed, in the metaphor that I'm trying to use here.
Yeah.
Whereas some people are moving on and making a bunk. And that is totally how Twitch works. That's not news, something that we've all known, but that has definitely been exacerbated. Like, it's definitely more now.
I mean, I feel like, it's really bad. The discrepancy between the top earners and everyone else is horrible. But outside of that, a lot of the top earners have been telling people, hey, we make a lot of money doing this. Yeah. And they don't lie about it. They don't try to hide it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think that's,
so like, I feel like, not to mention, if you can do basic math, you can figure out what any of your favorite streamer is making via subs. I mean, at least just subs. You can figure that out relatively easily. A lot of people were surprised and angry about how much people were earning.
Were they?
It's like, well, a lot of people were pissed off, dude.
Yep.
A lot of people were just straight up mad that you could stream on Twitch and be a millionaire, which is stupid. I just think more people should be able to stream on Twitch and be a millionaire. I think the share that Twitch gives us is absolute bullshit. I think the forced ads and all that stuff that we see virtually no money from is terrible. Like, there's a lot of things that YouTube just does way better than Twitch, but Twitch is such a conglomerate. It's such a power. No one can challenge Twitch right now. Right. And I think this kind of really shined a light on that as well, that if you want to do this, you only can go to Twitch. You can't go to anywhere else. And that's why Twitch gets to basically steal from their creators.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is, right, it's just, you're going to expect the best streamers to be making a lot of money. At least I was, okay? I mean, none of that surprises me. The problem is that Twitch benefits so much from those streamers in terms of how much they make, right? Because every sub that they sell, Twitch makes.
That's why I say
money.
When basically steal. Like, obviously they're not stealing, but their share is a stolen share. It's too much.
And so Twitch has no impetus to try to help promote the smaller streams. I mean, they really don't. They absolutely don't. Pokemon is going to make them way more money than, 100,000 smaller streamers, So it's like that's the way that it's going to work, right? Now, again, is it a problem that she makes that much money? No, absolutely. Do your thing. Like, more power to you. But there should be a way to help promote the other streamers a lot more, because it really now just becomes, as much as everything else, just kind of like a crapshoot. Did you jump in at the right time? Did you just happen to have something go viral? Like, if I had capitalized off of my Tekken angry rant, I probably would be doing better than I am right now. But because the first time I did that, the next time I streamed Tekken, I had 1,000 viewers on my stream, organically, and I didn't get mad again. And that was my mistake. I should have just got mad again. So,
I mean, having a shtick is definitely helpful. That's the way that some people have gotten to the top of things, or even just have had reasonable success. It's definitely a way to do it. I mean, streamers who are getting the big bucks, again, to reiterate, I'm not mad at them. I think that's great. I'm happy for them. Where I was more concerned was further down the line. I mean, honestly, people who I see regularly getting, a couple thousand people on Twitch, that to my mind, and honestly, is a lot of people to be getting every day or every time you stream. And they got tiny fractions. A lot of money, but tiny fractions of what the top streamers got. And again, that's how it's built. I mean, that's how the sub system is built. Obviously, there's no sub sharing in any way, right? There's no, if somebody earns 100 subs and you have 0, it's not 50-50, right? There's no split in that way. So it's funneled to the top. And we talked about this in the past as well, but services like Twitch are just kind of like probably inherent network monopolies, which is an idea that there are some things that are just kind of built towards becoming monopolies because they're more valuable the more people are there, right? The more people are on Twitch, the more valuable it becomes. The more that you want to watch, the more that other people will be like, oh, this is worth watching because so many people are on it and doing cool stuff. And it's just kind of, it snowballs, right? That kind of system is built that way. Well, there's obviously been very little regulation of things like Twitch. I mean, it's not where I want it to be. That is for sure. I definitely want it to be more equitable. It's not my goal, or I don't even think it's really a reasonable goal to have full on sub sharing or sharing in any way like that. That's not really what I'm asking for. But I do think that they could be doing a better job. Should be doing a better job is the word I want to use, at drawing attention to even people who, maybe don't have one viewer. But again, even the people who are getting 1,000 viewers, who are getting 100 viewers, they are making so much less. I mean, than people who are at the top. And sort of that's where I wanted to be scrunched a little bit. I understand that a lot of people who are streaming on Twitch are doing it for fun. They may have like wild dreams, but more realistically, it's something that's for fun. They're streaming for their friends, their family, that kind of thing. That's, again, like not really, I think, what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more like within partners. I want there to be more of an equitable relationship between Twitch and the people who are streaming on there.
I mean, Rip tweeted it out that, the top 1%, 25% of them aren't even making minimum wage.
Well, that's not fair of Rip to even assume, though. I mean, we see the dollar amounts, but we have no idea how many hours they've streamed. A lot of those people could be someone who just streams 2 or 3 hours a night after they get done with work.
Well, no,
that's not a fair assumption from Rip.
No. But I mean, it doesn't matter how many hours they're actually streaming. It's just the amount of money that you would make from a $40 a week, a 40-hour a week job on minimum wage is what he's saying. That 25% of the top 1% are earning less per year than a 40-hour minimum wage job is what he means. Just in terms of the.
I think this is just for subs, right? I don't think that this included donations and all the other ways that you can make money.
Anything that Twitch can't touch. Yeah. That was another thing I actually wanted to get into as well. It's only the money that are from subs and bits.
Right.
Like so much more money these creators are making from other platforms. And go ahead, James. Go ahead.
The point is that top 1%. This is the top 1%, so it's already very inclusive. And 25% of that top 1%, we have to consider about subs and bits and stuff to make them earn more than a minimum wage is not a good sign in the first place, is basically what it is. So
you mean they're exclusive? Yeah. I mean, again, I would like it to be more equitable. I think that's certainly something that I would like. Things like Twitch, I mean, they're so popular, and kids growing up now, my 9-year-old nephew wants to be a YouTuber. Like that's his, kids go to school and they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And some people are like astronaut or whatever. He said YouTuber. And that's a very common answer. He wasn't the only one in his class. Other people wanted to be that too. YouTuber, streamer, whatever it is, like however it's phrased. Because it's super popular. So it's very hard for me to imagine that there would be any changes on a user level. That is to say, like, we're not going to be banding together and collectively bargaining. That would be really great. It would be super great. Very, very hard to imagine in something like this that'd be possible, because my 9-year-old nephew would jump in immediately if anybody else were to leave. He was happy to fill their spot. Not to blow him up. I love him. He's great. Oh man, I accidentally blew my nephew up. He's awesome. He's super cool. But the point is that things that are really popular like this are just really hard to imagine that would be that would be the case. Instead, to my mind, the only thing that's to be done is top-down stuff. It's government regulation, and obviously right now I don't see anything like that happening either. So I don't really know what to do about this. Can we leave? Like, not that practically again, because that's just
again. It's like the hardest thing is
toward monopoly.
Right, and this is just generally how capitalism works, right? The best way to have that money get distributed really is altruism. And so, like, the only reason why it would happen is if Twitch themselves were like, you know what? We should help the smaller people to no benefit of us. Like, that's the only way it happens. Like, I think there's a good system for it. Like I said last week, I kind of came up, which I think would be a decent system that could actually help other streamers and stuff like that. But there's no reason for them to implement these things because it just doesn't benefit them. And in the end, they're a company. They're trying to satisfy their investors and everything like that. And, it's just about making, any company you go to, it's like, oh, it's all about the bottom line, right? Earnings. It's never about what good did we do for the world today, right? Yeah. There's no business meeting where they're like, how many tiny streamers did we help get from the bottom 25% to the 25 to 50%? Like, they don't care. They have no care for that.
Yeah. And that's right. I don't know how to change that. So anyway, congratulations to everybody who got on that list. That's great. My beef is not with any of them. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Except for you, Sajam, in particular.
Except for Sajam. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I didn't see, like I said, I didn't see that many people from the FGC who were on there. Obviously, Max, Eris, Spooky. There are probably others. I didn't spend that much time searching through it, but definitely some, and that's definitely cool to see. Congratulations again to all of them. Any other angles that you want to take on this topic?
What's interesting about the coding side of the leak is I wonder if that means someone is going to try to use that and create like a Twitch competitor or something like that, But
it's not a technical issue, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not a technical issue.
Like other
it's going to cost too much money to host all the servers and everything like that. So
other places have tried. They just don't have the traction that Twitch has. Yeah. There's just no company that can actually compete.
It's just
YouTube is struggling to compete. It's a monopoly.
It just tends toward that. That's just how features like this are, and yeah, hard to stop that from happening. It seems like just kind of a natural phenomenon. But
yep,
I would like more regulation, to be very clear. But until that happens, it's hard for me to imagine that things will change.
Now, if you actually think Mixer had the ability to be something, I doubt it. Even when it was under Microsoft, even when it was
Mike, I would say Microsoft proved that it didn't have the ability because it didn't grow after they bought it. It stayed the same. They rebranded it, they renamed it, they tried, they did their damnedest, but you can't. Twitch is too big. It's too hard to fight.
Twitch recognizes that too. At this point, they have had a couple of major streamers, even just recently, get poached by other services, and whatever, right? Like, if you're Twitch,
who cares?
No individual streamer makes or breaks your platform, regardless of how big. The next
one is just going to come up on Twitch.
100%.
That's what's going to happen.
There's only one or two groups. I think there's only one group right now that could derail Twitch to a decent amount. It wouldn't take them out, but if Riot created their own streaming service, like, that would hurt, but it wouldn't take Twitch out. Like, if they force people to not be able to stream League, but there's too many games now.
Well, if Riot creates a Riot service, then people just watch Riot stuff there. That wouldn't hurt Twitch at all. They might lose some revenue, but it wouldn't, open up a spot for a competitor to hop in, haha, we got you now. We can't stream Riot stuff either. Right, that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help anyone.
I don't mean that it would help other competitors. I would say it's the only company, the only way to put even a small dent into Twitch.
That would hurt Riot a lot more than it would hurt Twitch.
Yep,
that would be a big bummer.
Definitely
if Riot prevented Twitch and YouTube and et cetera from streaming, big blow to League of Legends. Honestly, it would not do well.
It's true.
All right. Yeah. Again, change your password. Even sort of Twitch adjacent things. Consider changing your password. Yada yada. You guys know the drill at this point. Not the first big internet leak we've had. By the way, I mean, I'm like not opposed to leaks, right? Like leaks as a general category, leaks about like what's going on in major companies or in the governments and so forth. I'm not opposed to that. What's bad is the huge amount of personal data that is open and public. Like that's the bad part in my mind. So.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, do you feel like it's bad that everyone got their earnings kind of put out there, or is that
I'm not so upset about that part.
No, I think that should just be public knowledge anyways, to be honest.
That would be fine.
Everyone should know everyone's salary in America, period, and take away the power from the companies.
It is like that in some countries.
And by the way, Twitch did reset everybody's stream keys. So you don't have to do that yourself.
Yeah,
They've already reset everybody's stream keys. So just as a FYI. So
yeah, if you're somebody who gets mad at the top streamers for making a lot of money, just realize that it's a business and they're doing a good job of it. I mean, I can imagine that hurting big streamers to some degree, not so much that they're going to lose a lot of money, but part of the attraction of Twitch and part of why people watch is that like you think the people on screen are your buddies. Oh, it's time for to hang out with my buddies in my community. And in smaller streams that can be true, right? Like our chat's going slowly enough that like we can talk with you guys. On bigger streams, that is just not the case. It's just they're absolutely faceless to everybody. Everybody involved is faceless. And the kind of mystique of like, oh, the person on screen is my friend or my romantic partner or whatever it may be is a huge draw on Twitch. If now you look at that person and you're like, hold on, this is just like some millionaire I'm giving $5 to every week. Why am I doing that? Like that, maybe that digs in a little bit, but probably not. Probably not too much.
There's nobody. I mean, when Majin Obama subs to Pokimane, he's not thinking to himself like, oh, I'm giving her money to support her because she needs it. No, he knows that everybody is making a ton of money, right? So, I mean, he knows that she's making a ton of money, so it's all good. So he's not going to be like, what, she makes this much? I don't need to sub anymore. He's supporting because he definitely supports, dude.
We know why he's subbed, all right?
Let's do it. Let's move on.
We know the real reason.
All right, what happened here?
Guilty Gear Backyard number 8. So Guilty Gear's latest developer blog teases the changes expected in the October patch. We haven't gotten a lot of information about that October patch, but we finally got some stuff in this most recent post. So what do we got over here? They talked about... go ahead, David.
Yeah, they talked about Jacko, first of all. Here's what Jacko does and so forth. So if you were playing this game and didn't know about that. If you're interested enough in Guilty Gear Strive to be reading on guiltygear.com about the developer's backyard, but you don't know about Jacko, if you're the single person on Earth who that applies to, then they talk about Jacko on here for a little bit. But on top of that, yeah, they talk about the October thing. They briefly say it's really not that much. We have revised the qualities of faultless defense, extended overall input buffer time, and increased the time window for throw clashes. For changes across characters, we have revised the startup time for their fastest normals, the way counters work for aerial normals, and increased the number of moves that can be canceled into jump or air dash. The details of the changes made in this update patch will be released soon, so keep an eye out. They also talk about...
I mean,
sounds painful.
To me, it sounds like it could actually be a pretty significant change. Like, I don't think this sounds small. I mean, as we know, when Seth Killian did the changes to Guile between Vanilla Street Fighter 4 and Super Street Fighter 4, and everyone's like, you didn't do anything to improve him, and then he was like the best character for like the start of it, right? We know it doesn't take much to change a game. And adding a lot more jump cancelable moves and a lot more air dash cancelable moves, I think is going to be big. Depending on how they tweak the faultless defense will be really big. And then even on the fast buttons, I mean, this is one of the things that Kizzy K has been complaining about, is that light buttons a lot of the times. Yeah, the light buttons are negative on hit. And so if you check somebody with a light button, it's still their turn. And then with punches, you don't get anything out of it. You're like punch, punch, punch.
Oh, I don't know what that's like. I don't know what that's like. I get punch, 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 slide into safe jump.
Right.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, Kizzy. I don't got that problem, dog. Sounds like you fucked up at character select. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But I get jab, jab, jab into stuff every time.
Yeah, so there's definitely some characters blessed and others not. But, does that mean that they're also going to give Zato and Milia and Axel buttons that are faster than 6 frames,
They should. There shouldn't be any 6-frame buttons.
I mean, I think that's my read on this.
The slowest.
Yeah, we have revised the startup time for their fastest normals. This is not, at least the way it's written, talking about what something is on block or on hit, plus or minus on that way. Talking about the startup time for their fastest normals. Yeah, I mean, what I want is, not having these like different categories, as many different categories for startup button timings as Strive currently has. Decrease that a little bit, right? Like 5 frames is the worst. Maybe, I don't know. I would be fine with 4, or 3 from 3
don't
to
do that.
4.
Don't give me a 4-frame button.
You'd be fine.
That'd be silly. That'd be silly.
I
have a 5-frame button now. It'd be silly if I had a 4-frame button.
Honestly,
how would I ever lose?
But like
How would
Axel, I don't even know if Axel would need a 5-frame button. Like I think he's fine at being 6 frames, right? Milia is a weird one. Milia is definitely, but like
obviously he's not terrible with a 6-frame button. It would be nice if it wasn't that bad just for some punish situations, but it's not that terrible. What I'm looking forward to for Axel is when they make 2H jump cancelable. That's right, there I am on the other side of the screen. I've done a 2/3 screen low, and now I get to do either red send if I want to, or nothing, or go into the sky, or whatnot. Obviously they're not going to be doing that. But that there could be a lot of creativity that comes out of that. That could be cool. New combos, if nothing else. New pressure series could be coming out of that. That could be nice. I would definitely be down with that.
The other one too is the faultless defense, right? I'm really interested to see how they're going to tweak that because, in my opinion, I think faultless defense is useless right now. There's a few useful situations for it here, but I think it drains too much meter. I really just do. I think that having the meter is so important. For a lot of characters.
Dude, I think I definitely don't agree that it's useless. I think it's like, you absolutely need it in some situations, and especially versus a couple of characters.
Right. I mean, against like Gold Lewis,
like
obviously you need it, right?
Absolutely vital.
I mean, that's why Gold Lewis is such a neat character because he forces you to use the faultless defense, and that to me is cool. But even against Soul, they made it so it pushes him farther away, and you can barely tell sometimes because he just keeps coming at you all day. So, okay. So maybe useless is exaggerating, but it's just not as useful as I feel like it should be, right? I don't think, like in old games, if you use faultless defense, blocking stuff didn't drain chunks. It just went down the speed that it went down. And like, I feel like that would be the right way to do it, bring that back in essence. So.
Yeah, I think that would work fine. I don't agree that it's useless right now, though. I think FD is really strong.
Yeah, I think it's good too.
I think it's fine the way it is. Yeah, I do. I think it's really effective against most characters' block strings. People just maybe aren't using it correctly, but I feel like it's pretty damn good. It's not as good as like a Marvel push block or anything like that. But you definitely lose way too much meter for using it. I think maybe that's the only reason you don't see people using it the way that some other players do. Some players aren't playing for the offensive meter; they're using the meter defensively, and those players are using a ton of FT.
Okay,
because in certain situations, it leaves the opponent basically whiffing a normal, and then you get a free whiff punish. Yeah, so you're trading more frame advantage for the chance for a whiff punish, and I don't know. I think the ebb and flow of it is really good. I
guess the way that I want to put it is not completely useless. I just think the cost of it makes it too costly.
It makes you choose. It kind of boxes you in. Right. It's, are you going to be defensive or are you going to be offensive? You can't do both because of the amount of meter you lose. And I agree. I don't think it should take as much meter as it does right now.
Right. So like I said, if they only change the meter usage, obviously it's very good. my whole comment about it not being very good is because it takes away so much other stuff, especially for a character like I use Potemkin. That meter is super valuable. Like being able to fast cancel into pop busters and stuff like that is, or just being able to hammer fall or mega fist into Roman cancel is so valuable for Potemkin that I can't afford defaultless defense. You know what I mean?
I think he's a character that just probably shouldn't be doing it as often, but like
he's
as
an
Axel,
exception.
as Axel, I'm doing it like all the time.
Yeah, he's definitely an exception.
What I'm a little bit more curious about is that there is not a mention of like instant blocking, which I thought was going to be something that they would look to change and maybe free up a little bit, maybe make a little bit easier to do. And it's not listed here, so maybe that means that they're not going to do it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will not, but they're not listing it as something that will be coming out. Like instant faultless defense, I feel like is like it's a useful thing. It's just
for sure it's a useful thing.
You just don't. I don't get it that often. Maybe I should phrase it that way. So I would have liked to have seen it maybe become a little bit more useful. Maybe they will. It just isn't mentioned specifically, and that makes me think that it's not something.
I'm worried that the fact that like most people, even at the highest level, are not using it consistently. Yeah. Some players use it sometimes for sure, but as like a consistent answer, you don't see it yet. And I'm worried that maybe Arxis is like, well, we haven't really seen it in tournament play yet. We don't know how strong it is. Maybe we shouldn't touch it. But the problem is it's so hard to access that people aren't accessing it often. So I'm worried that maybe they're just, in that really weird place of, should we mess with it or should we let the players get better? Because eventually, even as hard as it can be to use right now, eventually people are going to be using it consistently. I mean, that's just how things go, especially for a game like Strive where you're not grinding one-frame combos constantly. You're trying to optimize everything else in your game plan. So you're practicing your instant block FDs. Like you need to have that kind of stuff moving forward. But yeah, I'm worried that maybe they're just kind of not trying to touch it right now because they don't really know. And maybe that's the right choice. I don't know. I'm not a game dev.
The only thing that I would like to see them is move it back to 3 frames like it was in one of the betas. So that's all I would like to see, because I mean there are very useful ways, like you can fight Anji better, you can fight a bunch of characters better with it, but holy crap is it hard to do.
Yeah.
It's a red parry timing. Yeah, it's definitely hard to do. So I mean that's all I was thinking about. It was adding a window of a frame or two, something like that. Not very much. And again, maybe it could happen, but it's just not listed here specifically, which makes you think that it's not what they're looking at right now.
But one of the things they did list was the online login time. So they actually
did.
Yeah. So I mean, here's an interesting thing, right? They mentioned that we're trying to improve the login time, and then they said that they specifically tested North America login times, and it was working great. And I had
Here's the phrasing.
Okay.
Aside from changes to the battles, this update also reduces the time required to authenticate the online server when launching the game. Our tests in North America have confirmed that the update reduces connection time significantly.
Right. Now, I tweeted this out and I was like, this is awesome. And then I had a bunch of people from South America and Europe be like, what about us? Now, the thing about it is it doesn't specifically say it's not doing it for them. Because they just said they tested in North America, but at the same time, they don't specifically say they're doing it for everywhere. Let's hope it is everywhere.
I would imagine it is. I imagine they specifically said North America because they have an office here, and
also we're really
Americans buy the majority of their games, and we're the biggest yellers. So I would imagine that's why they're like, hey, North America, it's not just for Japan. Okay, you guys can relax and. Everybody can shut up. I'm worried that we have a Capcom we fix the netcode situation, an Altimore situation, because I just started using Totsugeki. I finally broke down. I was like, whatever. If it blows up my computer, so be it. Like I want to play Strive, and it's like night and day. Yeah. It's like a normal video game. You turn it on, and within 45 seconds, I'm playing. Like, it's fantastic. I'm worried. They're like, yeah, we fixed it. And instead of taking 3 minutes, now it takes 2.5 minutes. But by fixing it, we also made sure that Totsugeki thing doesn't work anymore. Right. I would be so sad. I hope that they actually did fix it.
Yeah.
Please.
They also said that they also said that There might have new features added to it, perhaps. However, they did say that the match system updates will be coming in a future patch. So I don't know if they're
just for player matches, not for their quote unquote ranked system.
We plan to include improvements to the player match system as requested by players in a later update.
Okay, but I mean, new features like. I still would like to see them have the ability for you to decorate your house and all that stuff like that and gain items. So instead, when you do go to the player matches, everybody has a unique house kind of thing like that. You know it was supposed to be there because in the very first beta, there was a realtor in the lobby.
That's right.
Like, you know that the system was supposed to be there and they just ran out of time. Be it pandemic or they bit off more than they could chew kind of thing. So
I don't want to encourage them to continue doing this style ever again. So I hope they never get their house. I hope we never get those items. Hope everyone hates it forever because it needs to go. It doesn't work. It's a bad system.
What if I want to go fishing but have it be more interesting? Why is the fishing system the worst thing? It's so bad. It's boring.
I mean, it's the way that it's always been in all of the Arxis games. You walk up to a fountain, you hit a button, and here's your items. Here's your items. It's always been that way. It's never been exciting.
Yeah, but it just feels useless. Just give me random stuff without the fishing part then.
Just give me the items. Or either like have a mini game or whatever. Right. Or just give me the items. Why am I having to press this button over and over again? Just let me like max it out or whatever. Anyway, that's pretty stupid. That could be fixed very easily, I assume. I don't know anything about it. As far as the gameplay stuff goes, my hope continues to be that it's not a giant patch. I still am enjoying the game. I like watching the game. It could use some balancing, right? But it doesn't seem to me anyway, like it needs really big system changes at the moment. So I'm hoping that these don't end up as being big things.
Worried.
Maybe
I'm real worried they grand blew it.
Dude, I agree with Maj. That would
be a bummer.
Dude. Like, because in the exert lobby, you could kick the ball around, and then you could even activate the little goalpost and like try to have teams shooting the ball.
James, that's part of the problem here. They've regressed. It was better in the past. Dude, they've regressed. They've made these things worse for us. That's part of why I'm so angry. They didn't even stay the same. Dragon Ball, I'm fine with how Dragon Ball works. You get your little dude, you can customize him, and he's cute, and you walk around, you go up to a station, and you go, ranked match, and then it finds you a damn match. I don't have to sit on a station with my sword out and hope that Joe Dude 1234 wants to play a 2 out of 3 set with me. It takes forever to find matches. It sucks.
Well, can you just explain before we are done with this what you mean by you hope that they don't Granblue it?
Oh, yeah. I really liked Granblue. And I think Granblue is the only fighting game I stopped playing after a balance patch. Their first balance patch made the game go from pretty exciting. Like, it felt like anime ST, maybe, is like a good way to explain it. It was very fast-paced and exciting, and characters could do kind of wacky stuff, and then they like neutered the entire cast. They took away a lot of the fun. They took away a lot of the fun. And I was like, well, I don't want to play delay-based netcode, and you took off all the fun. See you later. And I never played it again. So I really hope Arxis doesn't Granblue this game.
It's tough because I
really like it.
I get it. Like, I get both sides of this thing, right? Because as hardcore players, we all just want the menus. We just want ranked. We just want all that stuff. But again, I know so many people who don't enjoy the ranked grind, including myself. I freaking
just play
hate
player
it.
matches. You don't have to play ranked.
Okay. I don't necessarily mean ranked. I don't like the online experience. There's nothing.
But that has nothing to do with the lobby system.
It does.
How is that different?
There's just nothing to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there should be progress for everybody as they're doing stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to get people to keep playing. Because, I mean, look at all the research put into phone games and gacha games to get you to keep playing the damn game, even though it's boring as freaking hell. But they have a lot of ways to do that. I feel like fighting game devs haven't done any study of how to keep people playing games because there's nothing to it. Like, there needs to be a feeling of progression. Like, that's why I want to be able to earn stuff to build stuff in your house, to make your mansion something bigger, to put like an attic full of guitars and just guitars because you feel like it, right? NRS games do a great job with that. Exactly. As you keep playing, you'll actually go to the towers.
If I wanted to play Minecraft, I'd play Minecraft. I'm here to play fighting games.
Dude, someone I know would actually just run the towers on the side, grinding stuff, just to get items to make.
Sounds like they want to play Minecraft or Terraria, and that's what they should play.
Right? I mean, this is what I mean. So that's why I like that. I like what Strive is doing. Again, I still stand by the fact that I think the lobby system is a great idea, just really badly implemented. And if it was implemented right, we wouldn't be complaining so much. So,
well,
that's not what happened. We should move on. Hanzo's waiting on us.
All right, sounds good. I just want to briefly
Monkey's
say
Paw.
that
We got Monkey's Pod.
I don't have any knowledge about how the state that Grand Blue is in, but my understanding is that many players really enjoy it. So what I've heard is that after that initial balance patch that Tubbo didn't like and a lot of other people didn't like, that things have changed and gotten cool. But I don't know.
I heard it was like cool, and then another patch took some stuff away again. So yeah.
Anyway, we don't know anything about it. Let's move on by taking a break and bringing on Honzo Gonzo.
All right, be right back, guys. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Tuesday show. Let's move on to our weekly...
Why are you so short now? Why is David so tall? What's going on?
No, we're not short. It's David talled himself.
Yeah, what are you doing, man? Get your life together, David.
That's right. I drank the water underneath the tree in Fangorn.
What?
Anyway, bring it on. All right. I know you get the reference, and that's why I brought it up. We have our guest, Honzo Gonzo, here, who definitely understood what I just said. And here he goes. Hopefully onto the screen.
I'm waiting.
Anytime. At any moment. There it is. All right.
See, I'm tall now, too.
Why are you tall? What the hell, man?
What?
Awesome.
Are you standing on a couple boxes?
No, I was standing on...
He's doing the crate challenge right now as we speak, and he's on the top right now. He's on the very top.
Yeah, I put it on my roof. I did the crate challenge on my roof.
Thanks a lot for coming on and having a conversation with us today. It's going to be cool.
These topics seem incorrect, because I thought we were talking about 18th century mercantilism.
Okay, dude. What do you want to say about 18th century mercantilism? Do you think that it was a mistake to move on and to take a more capital-focused approach in later eras, or should we have stuck to that previous philosophy?
How do you spell merc?
MEBTAD. So yeah, I do think that it was a mistake, and I honestly think Adam Smith should have stuck with the theory of moral sentiments instead of moving on to...
The only mistake was me asking Honzo to come on the show tonight.
I feel like at that point he didn't, influence the world to such a degree that it changed the irrecoverably.
No, you're right. And people oftentimes rip on Adam Smith, thinking that he is somebody who was like cold and heartless, and that...
Do oftentimes people rip on Adam Smith?
Yeah.
Does that oftentimes happen? Do people just have conversations about Adam Smith?
I've had many of them, so I assume everybody else in the world is like me. But in fact, it wasn't like that. He had a more complete understanding of the fact that although there's this invisible hand of the market, you also need people to take care of other people still, and so the government actually should be involved in some ways. Anyway, I think that was a really interesting aside. Thanks a lot for coming on and talking with us about it. It's been nice having you on the show.
I think Melty Blood shields are a zero-sum game.
What a transition. That was an incredible transition. Couldn't have gone any better. Sajam couldn't have segued that well.
Von Hornick.
All right, here's what we're going to be talking about today. I don't know. We'll see what comes up. Can you talk to me first of all about what was the thing that made you not just interested in fighting games, but what's the thing about fighting games that makes you keep playing them? What about them is the part that drags you in and really keeps you there?
I really enjoy the interaction in between two people, and there's like not a lot of outside forces in between those two interactions, so you get a really pure I don't know, back and forth with one other person at any given time, and I really
look into their brain.
Yeah, I really like thinking alongside them in a competitive fashion, if that makes sense. And to a lesser degree, I also like surprising people with new thoughts that they never thought of. And it's very easy to do that with fighting games because you can be a little crazy.
What do you mean about that in the fighting game context? Like, what's an example of that?
Just inventing new stuff, like having wild ideas, like never blocking or always DP.
I was literally
like
just gonna say that you mentioned thinking side by side with another person, and now I don't think I ever want to play another fighting game again.
Yeah.
Do you know how many minds you have to think side by side with? There's a lot of them I don't want to think side by side with, Honzo.
I particularly enjoy also the absence of thinking. I think it's very interesting. I think not thinking is very very hard to do, actually.
Dude, it's innovators versus honers, man. I mean, you're putting that talking about it straight up there. So
is that something that you found in fighting games right away, or is it something that you sort of came to as a realization that you enjoyed later on?
Probably later on. Like initially, I don't even know why I really liked fighting games. I guess it was more of like just the competitive aspect was like just really like trying to get better, like people beating me a lot and trying to overcome them because my friends would always beat me up in Street Fighter 4. And I was just like, man, fuck this. I just want to get better. So I ended up grinding really hard. And also it was kind of the advent of when I was starting to watch Justin TV because I didn't have cable at the time. And I kind of just typed in video game TV and Justin TV came up and I watched Dead Space. And then the next game I watched, I found Justin TV on the launch day of Street Fighter 4, actually. And the next game I watched was Street Fighter 4. It was a guy named Long Island Guido, and he was playing Sagat, and he was very angry. And he was just making fun of everyone in the chat.
How many people were watching that chat, do you think?
About like 60 or like 80. It was a lot. It was huge. Yeah, because the Dead Space stream had like 150, and that was the number one, right?
Absolutely.
And you were like, wait, you can just do this and make fun of people all day? And
no, I just started watching the site because it was watching video games. I watched like Let's Plays on YouTube or whatever. And I was like, it's live? I was like, what the?
I mean, that's a good question, right? I mean, obviously RTSs and games, like StarCraft 2 and stuff also require a lot of brain power and being able to outthink your opponents, et cetera, et cetera. Was that something you ever dabbled in and it's just fighting games were just more fun for you? Or is there just something about fighting games in particular that scratches some kind of itch?
No, I play everything. I played a lot of StarCraft growing up, played a lot of Halo. Trying to think. Yeah, like I did play a lot of competitive games, especially like once I got internet, which is pretty late in my life. Did that start becoming more and more of a thing? So I don't know why fighting games really stuck out. I feel like the community at that point, since I started watching it, and then I started like to be like a stream monster. I was pretty much a lurker at the time.
Yeah.
I just kind of just followed it, right? I watched like all of the early Street Fighter 4 stuff in SoCal and then East Coast and stuff like that. Watched some of the early NorCal stuff. And I didn't come out to stuff until 2011, but for that 2-year period, I really was just watching everything. Like I remember very vividly, like, was it was Yeb's like tournament? Was that West Coast Warzone?
Yes, yeah.
That was like the hypest shit I've ever seen in my life. I was like, he could do what? I was like, all these gang combos. I was like, what in the world? That shit was crazy.
So I had played them online, or maybe it was the other. Yeah, one of the two Gen players played them online before that happened. Yeah, it was one of the two. And then when I saw that stuff happening, I was like, yeah, I already knew.
Yeah. I mean,
I've seen this before.
That's why when Gen got nerfed in Season 1, everyone in San Diego were like, we know why Gen got nerfed.
Yeah, for sure.
But so in other words, are you admitting to us, Honzo, that Aftershock was the event that made you because you were the hero of Aftershock, basically?
That was such a crazy event.
NorCal versus SoCal Marvel 3
give us the background.
Yeah, came down to the end, very, very close, but Honzo was the one who closed it out for NorCal.
Yeah, that whole weekend was kind of crazy because that was the first time that iPlayWinner got partnered on Twitch, right? And I think it was one of the first partnered channels. I think it was number 2. And my face was on there as one of the emotes, and I didn't know about it. So, like, yeah, having that happen and then doing decent at Aftershock was pretty crazy. And like everyone just had a really good time at Aftershock, I felt like. So I think that was the most important aspect. People like getting together and then like having a really great time playing Marvel and watching it. And people were just super excited about watching stuff like that. The KOF, not so much, but you know, the Marvel, it was pretty exciting. And all the players were really hype about it too. I love exhibitions that can not only promote like natural rivalries in regards to like regional rivalries, which are a thing. Less so, I guess, nowadays. But like to have that and then like to have it like broadcast in such a way, like it was pretty, you know, loosey goosey in form of how we did it.
It's very grassroots.
Yeah, and it was cool.
So you were already an emote on iPlayWinner's channel?
Yeah, that day. The Aftershock day.
So had you been doing stuff with them before then as well?
Dude, my memory's so bad from back then. Yes, I did. I wrote several articles for iPlayWinner a long time ago, and I did some of their guides. And then Seg I don't remember this, but Seg says I talked a lot of shit specifically to him about his productions. And I don't remember doing that. And so he told me that he would hire me to do some stuff specifically at NCR and EVA as a way to like tell me to shut the fuck up. And I did well and ended up, you know, going forward. But like, yeah. So essentially at that point, I was technically a part of the crew to a degree, but I was more of just a player, you know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. Explain what it is that you have been doing for the last few years.
I am a producer over at Tenno Media. Tenno.
What does that even mean, though? Producer. What do they do?
Producer. I stand around and act very angry and just yell at people and make sure that they do things.
Okay. Do you want to go into it more than that?
Yeah, you want to let it? That doesn't tell us anything, man.
Describe your job as poorly as possible. You know, it's one of those memes here. Yeah.
I kill the clipboard and I yell.
Yeah, so essentially my main focus is interfacing with the client and making sure that all their needs are being met, as well as making sure that the team on the ground or on the internet, as it is nowadays, also has everything they need and are meeting the deliverables and stuff like that.
I mean, look, Seg always says, I do nothing. And now here's Honzo saying, I do nothing, really. Maybe that's really just what producers do. Maybe they actually just do nothing, right?
Have you ever played Yakuza 0? There's a really good quest line. There's a producer quest line, and they just like, they describe the producers standing around with a clipboard, and I was like, damn, they got me.
That's awesome.
What's funny about that is, let me ask you this: how long did it take Seg to let you take on the producer role, and was there training involved?
The training was me. Like, I mean, honestly, I would hate if this ever happened to me if I was like managing someone. But what I did was I just kept assuming responsibilities because I saw things that I could do fine, and I just kept escalating it, honestly, to the point where I would just argue with Seg sometimes during broadcasts, and he'd get really mad. But I just kind of escalated my own responsibilities, sort of. But essentially, I just kind of forced my way to the position. I didn't ask for it. I just kept doing more things. As a consequence.
Honestly, that's kind of what you're looking for when you're in charge. Honestly,
it must have been mad annoying for Seg. I was a little twerp, just doing shit they didn't ask him to do, you know?
Dude,
like,
how much you want to bet? Like he's like yelling at you, annoyed, but then when you walk away, a little tear comes out of his eye, and he's like, "This is what I needed."
0%. 0.
I need Seg in the chat now to confirm. So,
So in this role, and I mean, it sounds like even before, you have had a lot of experience watching streams, being involved with stream production. Can you talk with me about like your evolution of changes of like sort of what you think makes a good stream? Is that something that has changed over time? And if so, what does it entail?
Not as much as you probably think. I really think that the best streams are in its essence, it's focusing on having a good time and being entertaining. And sometimes that gets lost when you start getting into competitive aspects of games because it gets super serious, right? And rightfully so. Like some people are like training very hard for these things, so they should have the most optimal play environment. They should be treated with respect that they deserve. But at the same time, how many times can you watch like a top 8 of just like really, really, really serious play before it's like begins to become stale, right? So, and then like if you look at like the top streamers, you guys were talking about a few of them earlier, but like a lot of them really focus on being very entertaining. That's it.
Yep.
They have nothing else. They want to entertain you. Either it's via parasocially or it's via actual entertainment, right? So I do think that when you have more casual, like, iterations of those competitive environments, that's when you start getting a lot of fun streams. You see it a lot. There's many examples of it in the FGC because I think FGC embraces it a bit more. But there's other stuff in like esports, like Home Story Cup. I think is a good example where it's like a bit more casual and the production isn't bad, right?
Yeah.
It just focuses more on that style of entertainment.
I feel like one of the best examples of that in the FGC, not even just tournament, but just standard stream, is like Smug the Beast, right? I mean, Smug obviously is, not only is he good, and he's good, and that's why a lot of people there, but they stay because he's hilarious and super entertaining, right? I mean, he's so charismatic as a person, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think people come into the scene, or I shouldn't say in the scene because it's a problem everywhere. I think people come into like gaming, and they have this like very weird like esports centralized idea of what makes content. Like this is what it is, and if you stray from that, you're a fucking idiot. And like, and they're very resolute in that, and they'll go everywhere and bash everyone that's not in their little ball. But like I feel like if you do that, like it's like every time I see like someone like this is what the FGC needs, or like this is what esports needs, I'm always just like, no. I don't think it really does. I don't think it does need that. I think everything's fine to a degree. We just need to refine it a bit.
Well, what do those refinements look like in your mind?
I think my big thing at the moment is getting more communities involved. I think not just like North America, Japan, South America. I think that like Africa has a really big scene. I think the Middle East has a really big scene for a lot of games, and expanding them to stuff like that and getting those promoted for the world tours and stuff is really important, and making sure that they get the same shine as something as like NA, right? I really want to push that because I think those scenes they've been existing as long as ours has, right?
Yeah.
But the disparity is like very clear, right? And like you see so many examples of it in the modern day of scenes just having incredibly strong players, but they just weren't given the opportunity. Pakistan with Tekken is a very easy example, right?
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
Dude,
So,
Mexico and Super Turbo, like they were winning, like they're like winning all these events.
Yeah. So like I think those are like really important areas where like I think people really focus on like very selfish desires to like venerate like 10 people to having a full-time career for something rather than focus on venerating like people that probably need it. Like, yeah, it's like people really focus on, $10 million prize pool, shit like that, when it doesn't like really affect it. Like, look at the Dota scene as a whole. Like, it's pretty small. If you're talking about competitive Dota, it's pretty small, and they have a huge prize pool. It's because that prize pool is so centralized in that area that it's like incredibly small. The fighting game community is not small. Like, the competitive scene is huge in comparison to a lot of these other games. So like it has a lot of different problems. So like I think like venerating those that don't have a lot of shine will naturally increase their desire to watch other things and grow the scene as a whole, rising tide and all that stuff.
I mean, I agree, and I think that would be great too. But for somebody in your position, you're a producer who's working on a stream. You're not working on like the community's streams, right? Like you have a stream coming up, say, and in doing that, like you want it to be as watched as possible. How do you sort of work the interplay between this desire to like have your event be as fancy as it can be, $10 million prize pool, whatever it be, and the desire for the scene to be repped and all boats rising up, and what's the back and forth there?
It's hard because at the end of the day, if I'm working at an event, that event has the priority. I don't
Sure.
care what that event is to a degree, even if I disagree with the entire premise of the event. My job is to make sure that event goes as smoothly as possible and as best as possible. So like even if like for example I'm working on like a really big tournament and their prize payout I don't technically agree with, it doesn't matter at the end of the day because the job is to broadcast it, and make sure that it runs smoothly. Now I can talk to them about it or maybe, on a later date, but at that time, like it doesn't matter. So that's why like clients, like who the client is very inconsequential to me, just purely because I'm not the only one on the project, because we have a lot of other people on the project and they're also getting paid. So me fucking that up means that other people aren't getting paid. So I want to not fuck that up as much as possible because it's, employing other people, right?
Of course, yeah. I don't mean to suggest that you should like purposely make the streams worse with the goal of like making other streams also good. Like I don't mean that. I mean like when you're trying to do both, like when you're trying to have a stream be as good as possible and also like sort of lift up the rest of the scene. How do you go about doing that?
It's hard to talk about, I guess. Like basically just taking your thoughts and morals and trying to apply it as much as you can to the pre-production and like the pre-stages of that, like the planning, because like during is during,
Yeah,
so
it's not changing.
And like I have a set of like, very like strict guidelines that, I go by in regards to like players having like very, very high priority in regards to their play environment and stuff like that. Yeah. And making sure that they're all good. And like I don't like when I see players complaining on social media about stuff that's like easily fixable, because like then I can just go fix it if it's happening, because I see that sometimes at other events and they just don't get fixed, right? Like I don't want to blow him up, but like, there's some stuff that happens and you're like, why isn't no one paying attention to that person's Twitter? Like no one reading it. So like just paying attention, I guess, is the easiest thing, just so you can make everyone feel good and reacting to all the blowups that happen. Cause like productions are so hard in regards to just random shit happening. Like it would blow your mind to think of the amount of things that can go wrong that you can't even control. Like it's the list goes on. Like it's crazy.
It's never about. I always tell Eric. So that West Coast Warzone that you were talking about, that was run by Happy Tang and John Rogg, and Happy Tank was like, oh, we're gonna be better than everyone out there and everything like that. And after the whole thing was over, John Rock was like, man, I have so much more respect for people who run events. And I told him, I was like, it's not about preventing fires, it's about how fast you react to them, right? I mean, that's what it is. You can't avoid the fires from happening, so it's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
I think you were one of the first. Tenno was one of the first group that had the philosophy of bring 2 of everything, right? So if one dies, you have a backup.
Yeah, we had a final round one year. I think I forget. I think it was Street Fighter 4 still. There's an HDMI cord that just died, which is pretty rare for an HDMI cord just to die. But it was the main HDMI cord to us from the stream, and so that was like a really big deal in the middle of a match. Now we had it set up so the players weren't affected, but at the same time the stream was effective. And I think weren't one of y'all on commentary?
Probably. Oh, David, what happened? We didn't hear what you just said.
I did radio commentary for it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So,
that was so fun actually, but bummer.
Yeah, so we had to fix that real quick, but like thankfully we had an extra HDMI cord. But I actually kept that HDMI cord as a reminder that.
Oh wow.
Well, I threw it away, but recently.
That would be
letting go of the past, cleaning out your closet.
Well, yeah, I had to move twice, so
Yeah.
But stuff breaks. You gotta be prepared for it. And thankfully, we have Spencer, who's a big nerd. So
yeah, for sure.
No, talk to me. Obviously, pandemic and everything. As a producer, talk to me how the transition has been from producing all these offline events to now just like online events. You guys are doing ICFC, you have all this practice doing all sorts of global events and stuff. Has the transition been really hard, or is it actually surprisingly easier than expected?
For the big shows, like stuff like Evo and like really like important things, it's a little bit more stressful just because you're not there and you can't react in the same time, because we utilize not only us in California, but we have 2 other studios in Japan and London. So like when they're broadcasting, I can't go up behind them and be like, change this. I have to like type to them and hope they see it if they're not like doing something else. So like and I can't tell technically what's happening all the time, like in the control room, like I'm not on their comms and stuff like that. So that in that regards, I feel like it's a little stressful, just because I have so much practice doing that at offline events. But at the same time, doing the productions online, like once we transitioned, like it's gonna be 2 years now, coming up. It wasn't that bad. And we can really produce pretty similarly structured events via like our online stuff, just because we had a lot of practice with a lot of the Bud Lights and the Geico stuff that we did in the previous, as well as like just having a TO team that because a lot of our stage managers were just straight up TOs and bracket runners that had a lot of experience with that. So them transitioning to running online tournaments was pretty seamless as well. So, and then we had ICFC come up as well, keeping everyone pretty limber in regards to running brackets and broadcasting. So like it's been pretty smooth transition, and a lot of our partners were able to hold productions that same year. Even we even transitioned that extra live stream in 2020. We transitioned fully to online within like a week or 2. And that was like 12 games and doing all this crazy stuff. So it was pretty seamless. We were preparing for it because we were at Evo Japan alongside y'all, and that's when we first heard about. Well, we heard about it a little bit before because of Obama.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's when we started to fully realize that it was becoming a thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like at the venue, people were talking about it. They're like, put your mask on and stuff like that. And that was
in January of 2020 for people who weren't there.
So we first started to understand stuff like that was happening, and so we kind of started to make some preparations. We didn't realize obviously the extent.
Yeah.
But we were preparing for like stuff in like Asia maybe to go online and stuff. But
So, I mean, sorry if I'm asking back-to-back questions here, but I mean, obviously, some people have been talking about this online about even after the pandemic is over, we should stick with the online stuff. You know, what's your thought on that as a producer? Do you feel like the online stuff, so, you know, you were talking about rising tide, everything, all this stuff, you know, ICFC has been awesome for EU because we're finding players in Russia and Israel, and you know, there's just awesome players everywhere. Do you feel like that the sentiment is correct that we should stay focusing on online tournaments, or what do you feel like after the pandemic is over?
I don't see why there can't be both. I don't know.
Okay.
I think online has a service because not everyone can travel to offline. Offline was a purview of the young for a long time, just because of like it being on a Wednesday or something. You know,
For sure.
Wednesday night, Thursday night. Like what? Like salary man's gonna stay up to 2 a.m. on Thursday night. You know. So like I think having the online is definitely a thing that's going to happen moving forward, just as a result of the pandemic. Even if it goes away tomorrow, right? It doesn't matter. People really enjoy the online aspects, but I don't think that discounts the notion for offline. I think offline majors has there's a huge desire for those. We're gonna see that with CEOs constantly, people like canceling and constantly selling it out, right?
Frosty is doing pretty well, it looks like, too.
Yeah. So like there's a huge desire for people to get out and play offline, hopefully safely. But you know, so I think that we'll probably what I thought about when we're going into the pandemic is that I was going to kill a lot of majors, and I don't think that's really the case. I think it's just reduced the need for regionals, maybe. I just think regionals are probably not going to be a thing, and it's going to move more towards straight up locals and majors, which I don't know if is a good thing, but I think regionals are just being replaced with the online tournaments because they kind of are regionals if you think about it.
Interesting.
And yeah, I think online's great as long as the game can function online. I think it's a good fit for it. But you know, most games couldn't function online properly before you know, some rollback games come out. So
Yeah. You were talking earlier about the FGC as compared to something like Dota. I wasn't aware. My conception was that Dota was like way bigger, but I don't know, maybe not. In any case, what do you feel is the hindrance for the FGC in terms of viewership, right? If it's your conception that like the FGC does have a lot of players compared to them, we're getting our butts kicked by.
Well, I don't think Honzo meant players overall. I think he meant our competitive scene is bigger than theirs because there's like 25 teams that are professional, whereas our tournaments have 4,000 entrants.
The sort of narrow definition of professional.
Yeah, like actual competitive players that were playing in like competitive matches,
like in TI and stuff. Okay, all right.
Yeah, because Dota definitely has way more players than any fighting.
Okay, that's what I thought for sure. But I mean, all right. I guess
question though.
I'm still curious about the question.
Relevant. Yeah.
How to raise the best way to raise viewership is to make better games. That's straight up the only way you can do it. As long because like look at Strive in comparison to Xrd. Like Strive had a lot of marketing behind it, and a lot of people were having a lot of fun with it when it first came out, and that meant that influencers had fun with it. That meant that drove viewers from them to it. Again, that's the only way you're going to increase the viewers is getting new eyes on the game. And the only reason you're going to get new eyes on the game is new games and them actually being good. So at a certain point, there's nothing like aside from paying for views, like paying like someone to co-stream or something, you know.
I thought you were gonna blow someone up. They paying for views, like I was just waiting. I was like, no, do it.
You know, like having like paying like Misgift to watch the tournament or something. You know, other than doing something like that, like there's no real way that you're gonna have new people discover it aside from making the games really good. Like, I think when you see games being really good and there's a lot of like positive talk, There's a lot of support on Twitter and like people being very excited about a game, and you'll see that people will naturally want to play it, and that will just increase the views naturally.
Do you have any thoughts on like whether there needs to be more innovation in the FGC for streaming, or if not, I don't know. You seem pretty positive about it before.
Yeah, give us ideas. Honzo.
If yes,
innovation?
what should we be doing?
Ideas, give it to us.
I think everything's perfect.
Yeah.
No. I mean, obviously, I think some things should change, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna say I'm to the details, but I think just refining the player experience and making sure that is seamless, as well as giving the viewers additional things to consume other than just matches, is also another avenue that can be improved on. Yeah.
My last question is, what's your problem with orcs, buddy?
I don't like them.
Why?
I don't like them. I don't want to have sex with orcs. I also don't want to have sex with robots, but no one seems offended by that.
I mean, there's more things that you can do with orcs and robots than have sex with them. Like,
yeah, but I don't.
Yeah,
I just don't want to have sex with them.
Well, okay, but like, what's your problem with them otherwise?
That's enough, dude. I
Is
mean,
that it?
come on. Do you need another reason?
Yeah, that's my question.
Do you only like things that you can have sex with?
Yeah, that's what
they are very angry overall, and they throw javelins at me, and
it's very specific.
Yeah, javelin.
They crush.
Oh, very specific answers. I appreciate the
robots were I'm not attracted to robots. I have nothing against robots, though.
There's some attractive
robots
out there, man. There's some attractive robots out there, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but it's just not my thing. But I like robots.
I agree on both counts.
Are you attracted to your microphone, Honzo?
Why?
You're just so close.
I'm just curious. You're very
I have
close
to be close to it because this is a very sensitive microphone.
And
oh no,
I get it. Yeah,
all right.
I'm just Hey, nice shirt, by the way.
All right. Well, look, I just want to say that
Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie. That's my question for you.
Don't get me started.
I want to get you started. What did you think? Let's go.
I didn't like it. I clearly didn't like it. It was horrible. It's never becoming the Taskmaster that I know and love. So
I think that there's an out to it because she was trained in the Taskmaster protocol. Maybe it was named after another Taskmaster that already existed. So maybe they have an out to actually do it.
I wish I could be as optimistic.
I know, right? All right. I think we asked you this last time.
They nailed all my favorite characters.
I think we asked you this last time, but where did Honzo Gonzo come from?
Honzo was from Hattori Hanzo. I misspelt it, and then
that's right.
I tried to find a word in the thesaurus that was an allegory or a synonym to weird, and Gonzo came up and it rhymed. So
it's a pretty good answer, actually. You know, how old were you when you came up with that?
I was like 12, I think.
Pretty good job for a 12-year-old. I'll be honest.
Yeah, because previously my name was my brother's name on Xbox because we had one account.
Yeah. Oh, you were like,
and his name was Pee Pee Poo Poo Man.
No, it was Midget 74 because that was his nickname.
That was close. I was close with Pee Pee Poo Poo Man.
You actually were close. All right, congratulations, everybody. We did it. I learned today that I actually feel the same about orcs and robots as Honzo Gonzo does. They're actually great, which you admitted.
No.
You just don't want to have sex with them, but they're great otherwise, which I'm fully on board with. I'm fully on board with both points.
You said
congratulations. Yeah, I appreciate which is a positive.
There's spores.
They crush it all the time.
There's spores in certain fandoms.
They're crushing it out there.
With all these spores?
Anyway, congratulations to both of us for having the same opinions on orcs and robots. Goodbye. Goodbye. Pretty cool that we feel the same way about it. It's cool.
Mercantilism.
Thanks a lot for coming on, buddy.
That.
Bye-bye.
I'm leaving Honzo here so he can still debate between orcs and robots.
I kicked him out of the Discord.
Oh, okay. Damn,
out of the call.
Jesus, okay.
Get out of here.
Man, all right.
Talking about spores with David.
Yeah, I mean, in case people don't remember, Aftershock was something a long time ago that was put on.
Nobody remembers.
10-0 when it was starting.
In case they don't remember?
Yeah,
nobody remembers.
Because you guys don't remember, Aftershock was an event put on by UltraChen and 10-0 together, and we teamed up to put on that event. It was a totally small event. A bunch of FGC guys at 10-0 started because of Aftershock. That's crazy.
Wow. So UltraChen started 10-0 and we get nothing?
Wow.
That's messed up. That's super messed up.
The thing about it was, I still remember it.
I'll contact my lawyer. David, can you handle this?
No. Due to conflict of interest.
Damn. It was in Santa Barbara. The Santa Barbara FGC got us a venue there for free, basically. And we just asked all these people to come over and hang out. Some of them had to have hotels or whatever. And so we tried to cover it for everyone. We tried to give everyone the tiniest amount of money for participating and stuff like that. It's very straightforward production. Still remember it cost me a few $1,000s to run that event.
It sure did.
Production is tough.
It sure did.
Not easy to do.
All right. Well, again, thanks a lot to Honzo Gonzo for coming on here. High five. Let's move on to the next one. It's the 5-5 matchup.
So oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just wooing for the 5-5 matchup. Okay. That was it.
We talk about this with Honzo, but I'm actually curious what you guys think on this topic over here. About the idea of once the pandemic is over, what do you think the role of offline versus online should be? Should we reduce the number of offline events? Would Wednesday night fights be better off and NLBC better off just continuing to be online instead of being at the venues, etc.? What do you guys think?
I believe that's a rough question, because I think we still need in-person locals, and for a lot of people Wednesday night fights and NLBC would be their weekly, it would be their local.
Yeah.
And the reason I believe that, I actually went over this on my stream on Monday. That was yesterday. I think everybody talks about FGC as grassroots. If you look where the roots start at locals. So if we get rid of locals, we're tearing what makes a scene special up from the ground. It's not what it would be anymore. And obviously something else would grow in its place and the FGC would live on. But the grassroots would be gone at that point. Without locals, you're not going to have a 10-0. Without locals, you're not going to have a Spooky or, et cetera, Level Up, so on and so forth. These TOs don't just pop up. They aren't just people that are like, oh, I'm just going to do this out of nowhere. No, it's because they have tons of experience, usually starting with locals. And then they're like, oh, well, I did this, now I want a regional. Oh, regional went well, now I'm going to run a major. So I just I think that we shouldn't get rid of locals, but also I agree with Honzo that we don't necessarily need the regionals like we did before. We don't need regionals like we did before.
Locals are still valuable.
Locals are still extremely valuable, but maybe we don't need the regionals like we did, or those can probably take a back seat.
This conversation, I see. Oh, Tubware skedaddled, it sounds like. Hopefully he comes back. And he does. What? Anyway, he's fine. Oh. The Discord was weird. Oh, so, okay. This is not just an SF5 conversation. I see Majin Obama in the chat saying that it's something that SF5 players bring up. This is a conversation that folks in the NRS community have been having for a long time. I've heard from the KI community as well. And the reason for that is that those scenes have had good online for a long time at this point. Yeah. And so even before the pandemic, question is do we need locals? The question was not, do we need offline majors? Nobody was talking about that, but do you need locals at all? Do you need to be in person other than at a major? And so this is definitely a longer term question, especially for games that do have good online. And my own preference certainly is to continue to have offline locals. Those are important to me, and it's a big part of why I got into the scene, and it's a big part of what I care about. It's not absolutely important. Like, here I am a year and a half into a pandemic of not having locals, and it's okay. I would rather have them, but here I am still. So I don't think that they're absolutely vital, but I would really like to have them enough that, like, Shankar and to a lesser extent, I was doing some organizing for MK locals here in LA for a little while before the pandemic.
Right,
Those are things that I care about. So, I mean, I definitely want to continue having that. I don't know that it needs to be the case that the focus should be as almost exclusively on offline as it was before the pandemic. Before that, you just didn't look at online events as being serious. And I mean, that's even true for MK and Injustice. For the KI scene was maybe one of the couple KI Skullgirls, maybe just a couple of games that had good enough online that you could take the online play serious in the same sort of way. But you know, we focused on offline almost to the exclusion of offline of focus on offline almost to the exclusion of online. That's too much. I definitely want to continue having large, you know, weekly and monthly online events. Things like the online local that were there before have grown up big time. NLBC being online, Wednesday Night Fights being online, those tournaments get to reach way more people. That's great, and I would love to see those things continue. But I would also love to see there be an offline version of those things. It would be nice if there was like an offline Wednesday Night Fights, and why not also an online Wednesday Night Fights? Like, why not have both? Case
in point, Chris CCH, we'll talk about him a little bit, who qualified for Capcom Cup this weekend. You guys didn't get to see this online, but we interviewed him afterwards, and it'll be shown on the next No Neutral, I believe. But he actually, in spoilers for the interview, credits the online Wednesday Night Fights for his ability to grow, because he got to play every single week, and he said he didn't miss any of them. So it was something that, you know, he credits you. So the online obviously has a lot of value. Now, here's a crazy idea.
Merit in it.
What if the locals have an online machine that people can go play online from there against other
This
people?
is something we've talked about before, and or you make the joke that, like, okay, people from home get to play on PC on high def monitors, but people in person get to play on PS4.
Right, yeah.
But whatever,
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't know that satisfies anybody. Maybe in the future there could be games that are specifically designed with that thing in mind. I don't even know if I want that, but like, maybe at that point, with the current things we have going on, I don't think that would be reasonable.
Yeah, either do it on online or off. We don't need to accommodate both.
Yeah, like a big draw to online is that you don't have to go anywhere. Like, that's a huge draw to it. Exactly. And even more than that, not just that you don't have to, but that if going somewhere is not feasible for you, it's late, it's far, whatever it may be, then it would just kind of defeat the purpose to have an offline online event.
I mean, again, you know, me doing the ICFC for Europe has actually, I mean, we don't get a lot of views, unfortunately, on the Europe one. But for me, like, it's been absolutely just a joy to see players from Israel, you know, Kudo Keech from Russia.
I wanted to bring that up. You're talking about Yemeni from Israel?
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A former Injustice 2
is he an NRS
qualifier?
Player?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He has been a super
He's not the only
player.
one, though. There's 3 players from Israel that show up at the ICFC, you know, which is really, really cool. And, you know, we got players from Belgium. We got players from all over the place in the EU area. And I think that's really, really cool. So, in fact, there was one player from Morocco, and I was like, oh, and someone's like, he's a KOF player. Oh, no, his name was like V-Strike something, which is a Leona move. And I was like, he probably is friends with Frionel, who lives in Morocco. And it turns out I think they're all part of the same group and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's really, really cool.
I mean, he was the Green Arrow, yeah.
Is it the, I think it's like spelled
Yamini,
yeah, something like that.
Or maybe 2 N's, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's an excellent Ramathal player, so he got 4th. And it's cool because we're getting that crossover from a lot of games too, so it's actually really neat.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, we need both, right? Like, we need both online events and we need offline events. And if there's any change to be made between now or whenever the pandemic ends and before, it's that I don't want to have online be as much of a sideshow as it was before. It should be a little bit more important than it was before, but we still need to have both, of course.
One of the questions that I was thinking about though was that, Hanzo's talking about how locals help promote people get into, bigger spaces and things like that too. But one of the interesting things about this is that Wednesday Night Fights and LBC, they've kind of split the country in half and just kind of taken those halves of the country. Does it feel like then that Wednesday Night Fights and NLBC might actually cannibalize all other potential online streams and it's really just them? And, whereas locals allow all the different scenes to grow and create their own streamers and content creators and all this stuff, that having them be online and being able to take up an entire half a country, do you feel like that's a problem or do you think that that's inconsequential?
No, I think it's a positive thing. I think it's a good thing that those players have a bigger pool to play against. I think that's part of the draw to having online tournaments is you don't have to limit it to the people within your city, assuming that your netcode is good, right?
But I'm talking about from other streamers' perspective. This just means that you won't be able to run an online tournament because no one's going to care about yours because NLBC exists and you can play it.
It's just on a particular day, right? If you try to compete with that tournament at that time in that place, you're probably going to lose in terms of...
Well, to be fair, the way Wednesday Night Fights and NLBC runs now, they run like 3 or 4 days a week. It's real hard to avoid them.
Per game.
Yeah,
right?
per
like
game.
Different
That's
games
true,
per different nights. So if
but
you'd
also,
like to have...
I think like the online local is proven that you don't have to be one of those.
I was just going to bring it up, dude. I think that's a perfect example. Yeah, they run an event that's they both do Monday East Coast ones and then Friday West Coast ones. And yeah, I mean they get a bunch of people playing on those things. I watch the Monday one regularly. They have a lot of fun there. Super fun streams that they run in addition to having really top level players. So if you don't watch those, I really recommend it. But yeah, the point is that exists. NLBC also exists. Wednesday Night Fights exists. There's a ton of other regionals. I mean, lots of players are putting tournaments together. I don't know. I'm not worried about any single event having such dominance that it would blow anything else out of the water.
Also, we got our salaries leaked. None of us are making money off this. Who cares? Run your online event, man. You're just doing it for fun anyways.
Absolutely.
Jesus.
It's just the honest truth.
All right.
We move on.
Anything else you want to say? Move on.
Nope.
All right. Let's do this. Let's go to the poll for the viewer 5-5 matchup. I'll start creating the poll right now. But David, if you want to, feel free to read off the questions that we have here.
Okie dokie. Question number the first. Do you think a commend system, like in other multiplayer games, would work in fighting games, a genre that's almost entirely 1v1? If so, would it make ranked more bearable? Number 2, when are we going to get an over 45 or older at heart, quote, old person league, quote, in America, like the JP Oji League? Do we need one? Number 3, more people are...
Hey, David, sorry to distract you, but... because of all of our password changes, Moobot, I need the token. Do you have a token for me?
Bummer. Yeah, for sure. One sec. Let me put it into the Discord.
Give him the token.
Let me put it into the Discord here. No, I didn't think about that before either.
Yeah, I was just like, oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Oh, we had to make it happen.
Yeah.
Number 3, as more people are enjoying or taking online play seriously, should fighting game devs shift to focus more on online multiplayer models like Brawlhalla or LoL, or stick with offline single-player model like Smash or Mortal Kombat? Let's say doing both is not possible due to budget. Number 4, CFN's monthly stats now include some win-loss stats by online rank groups. Do you think this data is useful? What gameplay stats or data would you like to see for games moving forward? 5, with the advent of weekly online tournaments, why haven't we seen games use lobbies to simulate the local experience? For example, Guilty Gear setting up a special can opener lobby on Tuesdays for participants to play together in friendly matches. Number 6, do you think some games should have built-in systems for team battles? Things like maintaining health, meter, etc. between matches to make it more organic? Kind of how in Smash crew battles, remaining stocks per player is carried over between matches. All right, there's your questions, your list right there, 1 through 6. Do you have the poll set up?
Yep. !1 or !2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., etc. If you are a subscriber, you can vote twice. That is the thing. That is a thing that you are able to do. So go ahead and start voting in the chat. And can somebody explain what a commend system is by any chance? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know, man. I'm Googling it right now.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
A commend system? Sorry, I can explain that.
Okay.
It's literally just a system where you play someone, and then afterwards you can rate them good or bad. You can commend them, or you can just not say anything, or you can defer them in some games.
Like, I feel like that would just create a lot of people hating on people just because they lost to them.
Yeah, right? Well, I mean, we can answer that if that comes up. We probably shouldn't.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, sorry. Never mind. Wow, this is not what I was expecting the poll to go. All right, let's do this. 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are done. The winners are going to be questions number 2 and 5. Questions 2 and 5. Like I said, not what I was expecting at all.
All right. Well, let's start with number 2 then, I guess. So number 2, to remind you, is when are we going to get an over 45 or older at heart old person league in America, like the Japanese Oji League? Do we need one? An old person league. What do you guys think?
I think we don't need one in America.
Okay.
I can literally on my hand count the people that I know that are 45 or older in the FGC right now. Like there's very few. Obviously when things, you're not 45.
You're not 45.
Yeah, you're 44. This is 45 or older. You don't get involved in that bucko.
You're not an old person. Sorry, you're not in the league.
You're not in the old person league.
You're not in the league.
I'm 45 years old.
I thought you were 44.
I'm pretty sure you're 44.
Are you messing with this right now,
I was
old man?
born in 1976, which was 45 years ago, and my birthday's in February.
I'm pretty sure you were born in 1977.
Are you guys messing with me, dude?
I really thought you were 44, not 45.
I thought you were 44 as well. All right, fine. So you're in the old person league.
So then, yeah, sure, you get in there. Then you added what I still on one hand can count the amount of 45 or olders in the FGC that compete. Like it's not needed yet. It will in like 10 years. I'm sure in like 10 years there's going to be plenty of people.
Fewer than that. I'll be there in fewer than 10 years.
That's what I'm saying. So there'll be maybe then. But right now, we absolutely don't need it. We're all still too young.
Okay, well,
James
look,
included.
I mean, let's not maybe focus on the exact age. Maybe it's 40, or maybe it's 35, or whatever the age is. Do you think that there should be a league that's more specifically for players who are older? I mean, the fact of being older is not the important part. It's like you got a job, you got family, you got things to do. You just don't have as much time to play.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't like that. I love the open bracket in the FGC. I don't like separating by age or disability or gender or anything. Like, I mean, I'm all for like putting events out for people that don't have the same vision as everyone else in the FGC. But in like normal ass brackets, like I wouldn't compete in a 35 or a 45 or a 55 or older bracket. I'm gonna play with the kids, you know. Like I don't like that discrepancy.
I mean, we're already doing it. Super Turbo tournaments exist, man. Like Third Strike tournaments exist.
Show at Evo, everybody was 30 plus in top 8.
Right? I mean, we had the Tournament of Champions, right? I mean, like, I feel like that's already exists. So
honestly, even in SF5, there was a Japanese tournament maybe a year or two ago where the average of the top 8 was in the late 30s. That was average top 8 age.
Yeah, and I guess that's another reason why I think we don't need it, because the old men are keeping up with the 19-year-olds. Like, it's not the reduction of your reaction timing isn't so ridiculous when you've been doing it for 20 years.
Right.
Like it's not that bad as people try to make it out to be.
For sure.
I mean, Canadian Ed in the chat is saying the concept of the OG League isn't exactly just age. The players can't be pros. They have to have been involved in the FGC scene in a support capacity, and the players are still really, really good compared to most ranked players. The idea was to recapture the super competitive and egging each other on atmosphere of the arcades and cutting the true top competitors out of the running, basically. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool, to have an old man kind of tournament, but obviously because I'm an old man, and it would be the same thing as like having a commentator cup, except now it's just for the old men who don't get a chance to shine as much anymore. Like, you guys don't know that Tom and Tony Cannon were excellent at Alpha 2 and a bunch of these other games. In fact, Tom Cannon was one of the premier U.S. Bridget players in California during Guilty Gear XX, right? Like, he was really a strong Bridget player. Like, these things, people don't even know these days that Combo Fiend is one of the greatest fighting game players of all time. They just think of him as the functions guy from Capcom, and that makes me so mad. So
I'm not sure that people even think about Combo Fiend anymore. What about that, James? How you have to be old in the FGC to know who Combo Fiend is? Huh? What about that?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
And James is gone. Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds to me then it's like an amateur bracket for people with full-time jobs. Like, I don't think we really need it. Yeah, maybe it's like a cool invitational. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But we don't need a whole league based around it. Not at all.
No. It'd just be fun exhibitions like we did for the commentator.
Yeah,
right.
That would be really cool. That would be a cool thing.
That's just all it is.
I think it would be nice to have something maybe not as formalized as a league, but like to have a hangout or a Discord or something like that to get games with people who are in a similar sort of state of life. Again, whether that means you're 35 or 45 or 55 or whatever, but just you don't have the time that you did in the past. You have job, family, whatever it may be, that it's keeping you from playing as often and practicing as much. And getting games with people who are in a similar state as you is nice. I mean, I do that myself. Like, my friends, many of my friends are in similar like life states as me, and it's like good to hobnob and talk with them about it like while we're playing. That's cool. So I get the desire to do that. Whether that should be something as formalized as like a league, I don't know. But
no, it doesn't need to be. We
have never hobnobbed once, David.
You don't think we're hobnobbing?
12 years in, we have never hobnobbed, not a single time.
What do you think is happening at the fart milk table, dude?
Yeah,
dude, that is not.
That is a hobnob. It's a hobnob, buddy.
Hobnob.
Hey, I got news for you. We're hobnobbing.
I've never been part of a hobnob in my life.
We're hobnobbing right now. This is it. It's happening.
Not true. It can't be
right
true.
now.
Wait,
all right,
the other core concept, it doesn't matter who places first, they only matter who places last. The players play each other until the pecking order at the bottom is established. That's awesome, dude.
That's funny.
That's like the old elimination matches that Level Up used to do, the garage matches.
Because the garage was too crowded, cool. Dude. The garage was actually too crowded.
The fart milk table is just an in-joke that I guess probably people won't get, but I know
more people know about it than you think.
It was basically a table at Combo Breaker that a bunch of guys would gather up to and hang out with that night, and
the cool kids.
And then I wouldn't be there, but Tubo would keep texting me and be like, "James, come down."
I got you to come one time.
You did go.
You got me to come down like 3 years in a row. Like, I probably wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for you texting me every year and guilting me for not going.
For my friendship.
Why is it called fart milk with our remaining 3 minutes on this subject?
It was a inside joke about telling the story of someone farting into a milk carton and forcing the other person to drink it. And so,
who farted in the milk carton, David?
I know who farted in the milk carton, but I'm not sure
who farted in the milk carton.
Okay, it wasn't me, if that's what you're trying to insinuate. It was one of our friends' brothers who farted in a milk carton, and later had the question of whether it would be better if you had the choice to drink from the fart milk carton. Would you rather have fart milk, or would you rather drink fart tea? Tea that has also been farted in. Which one's better to drink?
Several years.
And this is the quality of questions. This is the quality of questions every year. Next year it was like, would you rather be a McAfee or a McAfee? Next
we can't get into that.
What are you doing?
Like,
way too much for this show.
Yeah,
I would love to get into that. That's my favorite one.
Every year it gets worse and worse and worse. So that is why it is just called the fart milk table.
Trust me, you all want to be a McAfee and not a McAfee.
That's the easiest.
I mean, ideally, maybe you don't want to be either one, but
Yeah, it's true. But if you have to pick,
anyways, that's what that was. But I mean, again, the whole idea is, what it comes down to is we're going to be the easiest group of people to take care of when we get old, because we'll just be playing fighting games and we'll have our own league anyway. That's what it'll be. We'll need an old man league once the retirement homes decide to compete against each other. I think that's when it'll happen. That's when it'll happen. So.
Yep.
All right.
No, nobody wants that. That's for sure. Maybe not nobody, but I don't. Let's move on to the next one.
Fading into the next universe.
Just getting
trying to punch me into another galaxy.
With the advent of weekly online tournaments, why haven't we seen games use lobbies to simulate the local experience?
Okay, the example given was, for example, Guilty Gear setting up a special can opener lobby on Tuesdays for participants to play together in friendly matches. Well, I can give you a quick answer that you're not going to be satisfied by.
Yeah.
And that is that the game companies don't know anything about that stuff. Correct. And if they did, it wouldn't make much sense for them to spend the resources to make it happen.
Correct. Yeah.
Plus, nope, we don't want any fancy lobbies. We just want menus and that's it anyway, right? Who needs fun and motivation for other people?
They could have standard lobbies, but it's like the message on the side, and
you can imagine it being cool.
Yeah, it could be, but they don't care.
No,
Let's be real.
They definitely don't.
Honestly, the fact that games like this don't have tournament systems built into the game, like all this stuff, again, it'd be awesome. And then you could name your tournament and you could do this stuff and list a stream and everything like that. And then the guy who goes to the manager is like, this is a cool idea for a game. And then the manager asks, how much money will this earn us? And the guy's like, probably nothing. And then the manager is like, how long will it take? It'll take us about a month to implement something like this. And he says, so you're telling me it takes a month worth of the salary of like 20 people on this team, dev and QA combined, and art department and the manual department and everybody, a month of salary of all those people to make a feature that will generate absolutely no extra sales on our product? Let's do it. No, it's never.
It is really cool though, when offline events are happening and companies like NRS make stages or have the backgrounds of stages showing Combo Breaker's logo or CEO's logo or Evo's, like that stuff is super dope.
Super
and
cool.
That stuff devs don't have to do, and they do it anyways. I know for a fact Rick had no idea that was a thing. Yeah. And then when people started tweeting it, he lost his shit. He's like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
It is.
So they just did it. And so that shows that certain companies are watching this stuff, but it's just like James said, it's not worth the resources to do things like that.
It's such
lobbies
a cheap thing to do. The thing that baffles my mind right now was when Capcom was doing it for Street Fighter, you had to update. They had to update the back-end servers, and maybe 16-bit or somebody can help me with this, but why can't it just reference a JPEG that's online? Why does it have to actually, why doesn't it just download one time and never, and when it changes, it checks and then downloads again? Are there systems in place on Xbox and Steam or stuff that just doesn't let games do that? I don't know. It was always baffling to me that you had to have a server maintenance to update the stage in Street Fighter V to have I don't know. It's just, I just think it's bad implementation, right? To me, that just feels
probably
like
wasn't planned. Right. Just like I didn't plan to get sent to the Nether Realm.
Your camera is having trouble. Yeah, it would be great to see more of this, and it would be great to just have, even apart from, obviously it would take some work on the devs, but it'd be great for players just to be able to create their own stuff as well. Just put resources in there that allow the players to create their own, pages in the game. I don't know. Nothing like that has happened. The closest to that maybe is when SF5 put in its like clan system or whatever, it's called, the dojo system. That was like interesting for a minute.
But NRS did it first, right? They had the clans where you could like. Remember, we had an UltraChen clan in one of the Injustice games or something like that, or was one of them. Yeah, we did.
Okay, I don't remember anymore. That's how it goes.
Sounds about right.
All right, well, congratulations to everybody. Let's move on to the next one.
It wasn't Exert, it was it was KOF that you could write in the background. You could actually change what the little banner on the bottom actually said. Guilds, that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about factions as well in MKX, but those were not ones that you could name yourself.
All right.
Anyway, let's move on.
KOF 15, there was a 4Gamer interview with their KOF 15 producer like Honzo Gonzo, the producer Yasuyuki Oda. And, you know, on that interview, they were talking about a lot of different concepts and things about the game. Let me actually get to the translated document over here. You know, they said that they decided to make 15 while they were still even working on 14. I'm imagine it was a 12 and 13 kind of thing, because 12 came out and obviously felt uncompleted, and so they just released it early, kind of like the CVS 1 thing, because like we need money to make it the way we want it, you know, kind of situation. So I imagine that's kind of where 15, but they only started development after Samurai Showdown was completed. But you know, they talked about things about like why they decided to bring back Team CYS, the Orochi team, and create the Sacred Treasures team and stuff. There's 6 characters that are going to be in the first season pass. They did say that at the demo at TGS that the Shatter Strike did seem maybe a little too useful, so they might actually tweak the usefulness of Shatter Strike. So,
explain what that is.
Shatter Strike is the focus attack mechanic in the game that causes the crumple, but it's much, because you remember how on focus attacks, if you did an immediate focus attack, it wouldn't crumple, so you would get nothing. So it was hard to get
there's
the crumple.
level 1, 2, and 3.
But Shatter Strikes is like you just combo into it. It costs 1 bar, and then you get half a bar refund for landing it. So it's no damage, and it was like really easy to use. So they're thinking about maybe toning that down. Talked about a couple of other game mechanic stuff, but what the interesting thing was that Oda did say that rollback is a necessity in fighting games now, and he says that especially because of like pandemic and stuff like that, it's difficult to organize offline competitions, and combined with global expansion, rollback is a must. However, he also said that overseas players were the main players asking for rollback. No surprise, right?
Yeah, duh.
But he did say one thing, and this is factually incorrect. But he says that he still thinks delay-based netcode is better for players who have good internet environment, but that when it comes to distant players, rollback is better.
Here's how I know he is ill-informed, is the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah.
Anybody who really knows about rollback and how it works knows that rollback netcode is delay-based netcode with better features.
Yep.
So maybe it's a poor translation, maybe he's ill-informed, but to be blunt, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's incorrect. He has no idea what he's talking about. And it's disappointing to hear from a producer. I mean, we had the Harada Tekken is 3 on the rollback situation, and now this from Oda. Like, it seems to be a trend in Japanese fighting game dev that they're ill-informed, and it's unfortunate because they've had every chance to get informed.
Yeah, he also was talking about how he feels like if you tried to use rollback too much to program the game so it could accompany rollback, that you might actually lose some KOF flavor and stuff. But again, the whole thing is there's really no difference between delay-based netcode and rollback netcode at all. And I get it. Some people are trying to, like, some people were saying the fact that the max mode having the little bit of the startup as opposed to KOF 13, where the max mode was like instant and you just had to be super fast, might be is to help on rollback, like to confirm or whatever, bit better and stuff like that.
Or maybe they just want to make the game a little bit easier for beginners.
It just doesn't make a difference. It just doesn't make a difference. You can't program a game thinking that you're programming it for rollback purposes. You're programming a game for online purposes. Because again, like Tubo's saying, delay-based netcode is just rollback netcode with the dial set to, 0, right? It's the some of the games they let you adjust. Wow, this thing is not doing well. This camera's
OBS Ninja does not enjoy me tonight.
Yeah, so again, that's kind of frustrating to see a little bit, but hopefully the rollback netcode works decently, and if they're designing it for rollback, then it's still rollback. So.
Well, I hope they figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
Yep, same. Hey, can we make sure we start the timer on the next one?
Yeah, let's get the timer.
We didn't have a timer.
Oh, shoot. I didn't recheck the button on the thing. Okay.
By the way, what's up, East? I hope things are going well out there. All right, Nickelodeon All-Stars. All right. Nickelodeon All-Stars has been out for a little bit more than a week at this point. No, actually exactly a week, I guess, now that I think about it.
Well,
we had access to it. Yeah.
We had access early.
Yeah.
Gosh darn.
So it's been out for a week. And man, that game, as we kind of did talk about a little bit, is pretty wild. It's a pretty wild video game. You can do all sorts of zany stuff in there. I mean, it's fun for that, but it also is pretty wild at times. So they have been pretty quick about
This doesn't work.
Bringing patches out. Now they haven't changed a lot of that stuff, but they have been. They have changed.
Kick Tubo out of?
No, I'm trying to fix it, James.
Oh, you're trying to fix it.
They have changed some stuff, and they've fixed some bugs.
Okay, there we go.
But they've had a quick response, which is good to see. What do you think about what's going on with Nick Brawl?
I think it's. Go ahead.
I was going to say I've played it much more than what we played last Monday.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's a fun game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a balanced game. I don't think it's a very fair game.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting game. Yeah, it's super unforgiving.
Yeah.
There are times that you feel like you're just stuck, and you are.
Yeah.
But the game's fun. I think it's a really fun game. I understand why people are playing it. I do hope they fix their one-sided rollback on their netcode. But the devs have been on it. They've been active in the community, and hey, we're gonna fix this, we're gonna fix that, so that's positive. And I also imagine that game is probably selling past what they expected already. I think Nick Brawl is and this is not a knock on the game. I don't think it's a bad game by any means. Yeah. But I think Nick Brawl is a very good case study on influencers matter for game sales. Because there's been a lot of push for, we played early, right? There's been a lot of push for influencers to play this game, and all these wild moments have been left in.
Yeah,
dude, everybody who's a big smasher has been playing it. Yeah. Panda Global did the invitational thing. There's been tons. They've definitely tried to go a viral marketing strategy, and it's working. I think the game was number 3 on Switch sales.
Yeah.
The game was on front page of Steam. It's doing well. So I think it's really cool to see that influencers have a little bit of proof. Hey, look, we kind of make a difference. Maybe you guys should pay more attention to us.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting take. I'm happy that the devs are definitely involved. I've seen them in stream chats, actually talking with people about the game, which is definitely cool. And I don't know what's in their budget to fix and how much to change, or presumably they knew about some of the game being unforgiving. They are clearly people who know about how platformers work, or platform fighters work. So that probably is true. I'm happy for that. I'm happy for them that the game is selling well. I think it's a fun game. I would like to see some of the stuff that's in there get ironed out a little bit, but overall, I do think it's a fun game still.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like that there's a worry that it might be a little bit too fast of a reaction from them to fix these things? Because it was like Sandy had an infinite, Mikey had a double jump.
Make it happen, man.
Dude,
like that.
Dude, the stuff in this game that has problems.
Absolutely.
Like, anybody who's been coming in, because I've played it on stream, and anybody who's like asking for my honest opinion is it's Smash Kusoge.
Yeah,
like, it is rough. And I think they need to fix that stuff right away. It's not like we should see where this goes. It's like, no, this is very clearly fucked up.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Now, I mean, the reason why that I'm worried about it though is now, because I mean, this is a weird thing that a lot of people don't think about. Like, you can sit there and be like, good job, company. Like, great job responding to these infinites and these bugs that you find right away. What if on the next bug they find there's no response in 1 week or no response in 2 weeks?
Well, it probably is true what Stephanie says in the chat, that if the patch is already out, it means it was already done before the game even shipped.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
This is probably true. Yeah.
So that's a concern, right? You know, it's weird that you can't establish that necessarily, because then it's like when a rumor comes out that if you don't deny it, that means it's true. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So,
well, I think this has a very easy solution, and the devs have been doing that, is communicate.
Yeah.
You say, hey, we're aware of this, we're working on it. And most players would be like, cool. I'll maybe the player base drops for a little bit because people are mad about the thing. But then you let people know, hey, we're fixing the thing. We know.
But what if they don't agree? What if they don't want to fix it?
Then you communicate and you let people know why they're wrong. I mean, KI did this. Like, it's Keats and Elric, and they did this. And I mean, even to a lesser extent, Arxis has done it with patches recently. Soul Calibur has done it. Just explain why you're doing what you're doing. People just want to know. It's not, people don't get mad. Well, I mean, some people will get mad, but people don't generally get mad at being told no. They get mad when there's no communication.
Yeah, I mean, talk to Keats about let's make another fighting game, right? Let's talk to him and how he feels about that at this point in time. So, and even 16-bit is saying in the chat is that in her experience, that it doesn't help. It doesn't necessarily help. Like that's the tough thing.
You know, that's all you can do. That's the best you can do, so people can get over themselves. I mean, everybody's going to be mad on the internet at some point. You know, like that's just how it is. People are assholes.
For sure, the IP is a big part of why the game is selling well. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's obvious, right? Also, can you play Nick All-Stars with the D-pad? Yeah. In fact, I played on Hitbox. So yes, you absolutely can. All right, let's move on to the next one. Also, let's go fast here because we got about 15 minutes left in the show, and I'd like to skedaddle through.
Okay, well, real quick, Street Fighter V and Panda have teamed up for charity events, costumes for breast cancer research. It's the BCRF that they're doing for that. And, geez, I don't know what's wrong with the camera today, dude. It's just...
I don't either.
Fidgeting. But basically... you know, there's new costumes. I guess I can try to show the costumes.
A bunch of pink costumes for Street Fighter V, as well as items up for charity for breast cancer research. That's pretty cool.
Yay!
Happy about that. Yeah. There's a look at them, which maybe is on stream.
I have it on stream right now. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Can you fast? Okay. Thanks.
There you go.
Sick.
So some interesting pink costumes over here. And then also Panda Global has a few clothing items as well for sale that you can grab to support the same cause. So there you go.
Dope.
All right. This was interesting. I just wanted to talk about this because I think it's an important topic to be brought up. Someone mentioned this to me online, and they said that Melty Blood type Lumina doesn't support proper stereo. So it cannot be played by blind or hard, players who have, seeing issues right now, and they want to try to get some traction to see if they can get French Bread to patch this in here, because this is definitely an issue. Again, this is just something that, I wanted to talk about on the show, so maybe we can, get some awareness for it so that other people get it so that they can play it. they can play it, basically.
Absolutely.
I just put this in here because Super Turbo is the game that keeps on giving. Somebody actually discovered recently that the 3 different speeds of fireballs that Ryu throws have 3 different sprites. Can you believe that? Like, they look different.
Never knew it.
They look different from each other. Like, the slow fireball is just a fireball. The medium one has 1 circle going around the tail, and the fast one has 2 circles going around the tail.
This must have been known.
Dude, most people are like, what the hell? Like, it was literally a Japanese post where someone's like, I can confirm that this is what it is. And they showed a picture, and I was like, what? Like, it's wild.
I definitely never knew it, but...
Dude, I had no idea. This game is a game that keeps on giving, man. We keep discovering new things about this game. It's crazy. It's so nuts.
And Core Gaming had a new video out, which I did watch, and I recommend.
Yes.
Interesting discussion on the concept of a honer versus an innovator, 2 different mindsets of players who play competitive style games.
It's basically like the difference between a lab monster and, you know, the people who take those things and win tournaments with them, right? It's the people coming up with stuff versus the people who really just kind of grind through it, right? So
yeah, check it out. He's always putting out good content.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Infilament's glossary is continued to be updated. So he added a bunch of Virtua Fighter and Melty Blood terms to the dictionary recently. So definitely check that out at glossary.infil.net. It's just a great resource to keep reminding people exists. A lot of our streams, if you type in !glossary and then a word, it should give you the link to the website and such. So it's really, really good.
Cool.
Tournament results. I'm gonna have to do this. Tournament results. There's a lot of tournaments that happened. Some big ones. The Pinnacle, which was an offline tournament in Canada at the Van Street location that V Ryu runs, right? If I'm not sure, it's actually at the Vancouver Convention Center. It was at the Vancouver.
You mean Air?
Air. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, that was totally the wrong person.
Yeah, wow, V Ryu's in Europe. I don't know.
How did I do that? That's crazy. But there was a lot.
You're not American. That's all that matters. 2021.
But a lot of crazy results, like Panda having a great weekend with Street Fighter V, Punk getting first place, the Justin second place.
Yep.
Dragon Ball Fighters was won by Sonic Fox. Jabril won UMVC 3 over Justin.
Well, Jabril's the best player in the world, so that makes sense.
He managed to take out Justin. But one that I'm particularly happy for is Super Noon won Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And he beat Kizzy K. And if you guys have seen the clip, like after he wins, I mean, when he made top 8 at EVO, like that was a super emotional moment. He was like crying. And then when he won this event, he was crying, and he talked about it on Twitter and how crazy how happy he was about it. So shout out to him. Kizzy K also played like a monster with Kai as well. And then in Melty Blood Type Lumina, one of the first offline events, Scrot actually beat Sonic Fox. So we almost had Sonic Fox coming in and saying, you know what, I'm going to win every tournament for all the new games right away, but was actually going down in second place. That I thought was really cool. Yeah. I don't think it was this event, but we were talking about the offline and online thing. I thought Ebonic Plague had a great tweet this weekend. I don't remember if it was at the Pinnacle or something else, but someone reacted to a move by DPing it, and the guy who got DP'd said, "Man, I hate offline."
Pretty great.
Yeah, he was obviously joking, but dude, it's hilarious. I love it, dude. It's such a, I don't know, I thought that was hilarious.
That is funny.
The Capcom Pro Tour 2021 North America West happened this weekend. Nephew won that, and he did win the first one, so he can't qualify again. He just wanted the money, which he was able to do. He defeated Chris CCH, who played the best that I've ever seen him play. He defeated Samurai, and then in grand finals went up. He won 5 games in a row, reset the bracket, won 2 games, was up 1 round to 0, and then Nephew made the comeback.
Yeah, it was honestly a fantastic choke But it's a learning experience, I'm sure. Pretty cool.
But he was super happy about it. Again, on the next New Neutral, you'll be able to see our interview with Chris CCH as well. It was a great interview, actually. It was a really, really good interview. Street Fighter League Pro JP continues. They're in the middle of day 3, I think. So their standings, we'll just go ahead and skip that for now.
Yep.
Smash World Tour America West took place. That one was won by MVD with Snake. And second was Sen with Ness. So that's continuing forward. So the Smash World Tour is still going. And then Tekken Online Challenges were going. The Japan one was won by DUSG Gen with Fakumran and Shaheen. And the Korean one was won by JDCR. So probably no surprises there for JDCR.
All right,
let's get to the mailbox here.
Let's do it.
Look at me speeding through all of these things over here. So we'll try to even go faster through some of these questions here. Now that I think about it, there was one question we were supposed to add back here this week, and I think I forgot to do that. So I'll see if I can find it in just a second. But the first question is Deadeye Dave via Discord, which is any all-time favorite movies?
All right. What do you guys got?
My favorite movie, as I've mentioned many times, is The Princess Bride.
Okay.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, pretty cool. Pretty cool answer.
That's recent, actually.
My favorite movie of all time. Dang, second place is Pulp Fiction.
Interesting.
So 2 very different films, but yeah, Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite movie.
Okay. I don't know, man. I don't think about movies very often. Maybe Return of the King. I don't know. I'm not really committed to that. But
you shouldn't be.
One of those 3. Whatever.
Oh, that's true. You know what? We didn't mention that, but they announced the dates of the Red Bull Kumite coming up as well. So,
yeah. That's why I wore this hat.
Registration is open, so I forgot to add that to upcoming and stuff like that. So
I'm gonna go with Avatar. That's right. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That makes sense.
Avatar.
Okay. All right.
Avatar it is. Good call.
Okay.
Good call.
All right. So Phil Rufio asks, are there any fighting video game quotes that you often say or think of? I mean, go home and be a family man, right? I mean, it's always one of the most famous ones. So
I don't really think about fighting video game quotes. Yeah, it should be mailbag on the bottom here.
Oh, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really think about them. I don't really use fighting game analogies. People are always like they're like likening situations to like, this is like the fighting game and make sure to rush it down. I just don't really think about things like that.
Random Marvel stuff pops in my head like all the time.
Attack me if you dare, I will crush you.
I'll just be sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear "die, die, die, goodbye, dead meat," and that's like Frank's animation, what he says when he does a super. And I don't know why, but that just pops in my head because why not?
I love me some guns.
Yeah, he doesn't say that anymore.
What do you mean anymore? He hasn't said that ever.
Well, he did it in the trailer.
I know.
One of the most important quotes is also, "Your problem is you don't have any rhythm, man." So yeah, from DJ, continuing their ever so culturally.
In ST.
Yeah, in ST. Yeah. So.
Yeah, nice work.
Oh man, whoops! I should change that. Tabby Nat asks, "What's the best lesson you've ever learned?" There's some vague questions here today. I think. What's the best lesson
I ever learned in my whole life? Is that you can get out of almost any mailbag question by saying, "But I would choose to be a human being that's very smart." And can get through or whatever the situation is. That's the greatest lesson I've ever learned from Ultra David.
I appreciate that. That is, I think, one of the best lessons I've ever had to give. Absolutely right.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, the most important one that I've learned is to make sure that I'm not overestimating my own capabilities. That's been super, super important for me.
Dang, that's such a serious and good answer, dude.
Because I did way too often when I was younger, and that was sometimes okay, but oftentimes not okay. So learning that lesson has been tough but important.
I mean, if you have certain cheerleader stories that inflated that thought, but I mean, here's the thing, right? I have the exact opposite problem, right? I underestimate everything myself, but for me, one of the most valuable lessons is that if you want to test if an egg is bad or not, to float it in water. If it floats, then it's bad. If it sinks, then it's actually good. Because that's actually saved me a couple of times from being very, very much in pain. Also, as a person who washes their own dishes all the time, you don't have to keep replacing your sponge. Soak it in hot water, put it on a microwave-safe plate, microwave it for 2 minutes. You will clean your sponge every single time.
That's not even remotely true, James. You should look that up again, buddy.
Dude, it's
that is like
that's
an urban myth. You should seriously look that up.
Okay, it makes it so the sponges don't stink anymore.
Correct. It doesn't. Yes. Yeah, but that bacteria
doesn't clean it. Doesn't clean it, but it doesn't make it stink anymore, which is more important.
That's fair. The smell goes away. That's the important part for
yes, because I would wash dishes with the stinky sponge, and my hand would stink for like the rest of the night, dude. Seriously.
Man,
also, if you ever go to a public bathroom and you wash your hands, take one sheet out, fold it in half, and then dry your hands. The towel will actually last. You will save tons of paper that way instead of pulling out like 9 sheets and basically destroying the planet. Pull one sheet out, fold it in half, and then start drying your hands, and one sheet will actually do the job. Save paper, ladies and gentlemen. Save paper. Be better to the environment. Okay, next
If the mushrooms are slimy, don't eat them.
All right, here we go. If there was a cereal mascots fighting game, who would be your main and why? Mine would be the Quaker Oats man. Listen, Marlo, it just so happens there is a cereal mascots fighting game. It's called Cereal Killers, and it will be coming out. We even had one of the guys on here for an interview. Look it up and pick your main.
And also, I'm going to be in the game.
What?
You're welcome. They literally told us on stream they're putting me in the game.
Oh, in
and
the
I
background,
asked them later if he was serious, and they're putting me in the game.
Yeah.
That is real life.
It's pretty great.
Right.
Yeah, I will be immortalized. I asked Keats to do it for years, and that asshole never did it.
I hate that guy.
Says my friend. Yeah,
Investigation Cone via Twitter asks, you go fishing and catch a magic talking fish. If you let it go, it offers you to let you choose one fighting game move, type, or system to eliminate from ever appearing again in any new game. What is your absolute least favorite move, type, / system in any fighting game?
Dude, thank you so much, Code, for this question, of which the first 60% is completely unnecessary, but makes it so much better. Literally, put the question back up. Put the question back up. Or is it too late?
No. I can still put the question back up.
Dude, what a genius question. Look at literally the last.
Yeah, what is your absolute least favorite move, type, system in any fighting game?
Dude, I love this question. Anyway, thank you very much for this. All right, Magic Fish. What do you guys say to the Magic Fish?
I'll make sure the TACs are never Team Aerial combos in Marvel 3 are never in another game.
Weird.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, a number probably will be, but I would never wish that on another game. What a terrible, terrible mechanic.
Other than just actually bad ones, let's not do Pandora mode again from Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Other than ones that are obviously bad, I don't know. I don't think that I have anything that stands out as being something I never want to see again. It's, I would say, usually more like...
You know what I got real tired of, and I'm still tired of, is hit 2 buttons to go into new mode that does cool things. I'm real sick of that.
Oh, you're just talking about like an instinct mode, a V trigger.
Yeah, instinct or V trigger. Like
Moon Drive.
If we never got that again, X Factor. Like I'm tired of it. Like it's whatever. Like I don't just give me the cool stuff at the beginning, man. I just want to do the cool stuff right away. Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, like
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I'm cool with those.
I know there's a system out there that I hate really, really badly, and I never want to see it in a fighting game again, and I can't think of it right now. I mean, obviously stuff like I really just hate the way Melty Blood's auto combo works right now, and I'm finding more reasons why it's making me angry. Danger Time is a great answer, actually, from Super.
But again, like it's just a bad idea, right?
Right,
like,
yeah. I mean, for me, like if I wanted to be a little more controversial, I would say something like FRCs in Guilty Gear. Like, I actually really hate the concept of FRCs because they basically had this wonderful system of creativity where you can Roman cancel anywhere. And then they created everybody with moves that they had FRC points that would only drain half of the meter of a regular RC. So why would you ever RC in any other place? The devs are telling you where to RC. And then Axel's RC was 2 frames because it might be too good if it was easier, and then this person's RC was 5 frames, and then this person's FRC was, it was too much the devs telling you what they wanted, and I didn't like that about Guilty Gear. So that was one of the mechanics that I've disliked, which is kind of one of the reasons why I actually like games like Xrd better than XX at this point in time. So
I guess the only one that I can think of that's not just an actual bad idea like Danger Time is in a couple of games when if you like run away too much, you'll get a negative penalty. That kind of thing I just think is really stupid. But it's like also not even a big deal in those games where it exists. So whatever.
All right, so Stephanie Brownback via Twitter. Bad news. The 3 of you have been sentenced to prison.
Oh my God.
Thank God.
What is your strategy for adjusting to life in the big house? Who would thrive in this new environment and who would struggle? Would you guys host a talk show in the prison yard? Discuss.
I could see myself being somebody who thrives or who struggles, just depending on what the conditions are. Like if I can't like read or I don't know, read or write or talk with people, then I would really struggle, I think. But if it was the kind of like minimum security prison where I could like take in a book and I could like still talk with people, I feel like it would suck, but I don't know, it'd probably be all right.
I'm just saying the 2 of you would go to a nicer prison than I would. Okay, I'm just saying that much right now.
Ugh, what do you do? So. What did you do in your mind?
Yeah, what did you do, Jake?
In my mind, I don't know, I embezzled or something that's like just a stupid.
In my mind, I did something something that I would totally maybe do at some point.
Yeah, but I'm not like a murderer in my mind.
I lost the genetic lottery. Anyways, okay. I don't know. I would probably do really bad in prison. I'd probably really do bad in prison, to be honest with you. So David went to prison for stealing a poster a flag off of a wall and walking out because he thought he could get away with it. So
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I think you'd be fine.
I would do. I think I'd be fine too. Pretty well. Pretty good in prison.
We see the title thing. You've tackled people, so I think we know, right? You'd be fine.
I'd do all right there.
Yeah, I could see that. You're a gregarious fella. You can throw a hand or two. I could see that.
I've been in a few fights in my day.
You have. Yeah. Yeah.
Been in a few fights.
Yeah, I would get my ass whooped, I think. So
I used to be able to fight well, but now my body is made of paper, so that might not go that great.
It's true.
All right. Next question is ATP via Twitter. Would you rather fight a chick? I love this question. Would you rather fight a chicken every time you enter your car or an orangutan armed with a sword at some random time once a year?
I can't believe that's not a Casmer question.
I know, right?
ATP. Dude. I hope things are going well.
That's very Casmer-esque.
I hope you're doing all right, ATP. Look, I would absolutely take the once a year. Actually, I'm going to go back and say I'm going to take the other one. I'm going to take the entering car because I don't really get in the car very often. Pretty rare, actually.
I was going to say I'm absolutely taking the car. You know why?
I'm taking the car.
I don't own one car. So, yeah, I win.
Easy for you.
Yeah.
I do have a car, but I work from home and I get to walk to the grocery store and stuff, so I'm just not in the car very often. It would be annoying to like knock a chicken away or whatever, but
I mean, you probably have to murder it. I'm assuming this is a murderous chicken.
Oh, I don't want to murder the chicken.
You're gonna have to snap this chicken's neck.
That sounds like a big bummer. What if it's the orangutan? Would I need to kill the orangutan?
Probably, yeah.
I don't want to do either of those things.
Look,
I mean, to be fair, I don't think any of us could kill an orangutan with our bare hands.
I don't think so either. It doesn't even need a sword. In fact, the sword might make it worse if it had to hold the sword.
It might be a hindrance for the orangutan. I just throw it at you and go from there.
I would go after the orangutan every time. I would go after the orangutan every time. I have played The Legend of Zelda. I know what happens when you beat up a chicken a little bit too often. A bunch of invincible chickens will come out of nowhere, and they will all destroy you, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. So I'll take the orangutan.
On the other hand, you might be able to jump out of your parking garage, holding onto the chicken, and make yourself fly away from the other chickens by holding that chicken.
But you still take damage, though. You'll still take some damage from those chickens. So
it kind of depends on the pathing, right? I don't know. Not necessarily.
They're relentless, so they never stop.
Well, all you got to do is go inside a building, and eventually things will be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
True story.
In conclusion, it says, would you rather fight a chicken? Yeah, fight. I'm not going to kill the chicken.
If Link threw a chicken at Ganon and Ganon kicked it, the end of the Zelda game would be over that much faster. Because then the chickens would kill Ganon, and Ganon wouldn't be able to do anything.
They're just super powered beings just hanging out in Kakariko Village.
They're indestructible, dude. I have shot some of those chickens with bombs and arrows and everything like that.
I've done all the things too, of course.
They do not die.
Poor chickens.
I know.
Terrible people.
I would never do that in real life.
And plus another thing, if you had to fight a chicken every day when you entered your car and you managed to kill it, you would have free food like every day. Nothing Excess via Twitter asks, what was sorely missing from events pre-pandemic that you'd like to see moving forward? Ooh, this is a hefty question. Should we
that I would like to see moving forward?
I mean, I don't know, man. I just want to get back to events. I'm not really concerned about events improving right now.
Better safety. Better facilities for people to have, safe spaces to go to, like Combo Breaker, reporting stations where you can go and report stuff like that, so that you don't have to try to find a TO or have someone try to force them to believe you, etc., etc. That's what I would like to see.
That's the answer. 100%. I'm 100% on board with that.
Well, got it. Nailed it. James got it.
Yeah, no, that is a really good answer for sure.
That's the answer.
I was thinking more of like a production tournament side, like player, not just like the overall experience. But that just shows my privilege because I don't have to worry about, somebody making me feel uncomfortable at a tournament.
Yeah,
so
I hear you, man.
Yeah, I mean, because remember, the pandemic is when all that happened, right? When all the Me Too
came out,
the fighting game in the community. So yeah. Last question. This was the question from last week that we accidentally skipped from Subatar. What would be the name of your thinly veiled pseudonym burner account? I mean, we actually practically all have one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for a while, mine was
several.
Mine was Shimmy Fishmouth, but I changed it to JC Nile because I just thought that was more clever. So I like JC Nile better. So
it is a good one.
I already know David's.
Well, I just have a lot. I don't know. And
David has changed his name all the time.
I don't think that they're thinly veiled. I think you wouldn't know it's me unless like I told you that it's me. And then you go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." But you wouldn't like figure it out in the first place.
Lariat Tubman. Lariat Tubman and Whoopi Goldburst are some of my favorite ones.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldburst.
Those are classics, no doubt about it. Yeah. My current gamer tag is Carpe BM. I don't know if I'm going to change that anytime soon because I think it's a pretty good one. But what was it before that? Douche Ex Machina. That was a pretty good one too.
I'm not giving mine. I'm not giving mine away because I still use it. So
dang,
secret account. That L.
Is it Tupperware 2?
Got him! Oh, how did you know? Who would ever guess that?
Dang.
Ooh, got him.
But yeah, my name is literally a name none of you would ever guess. I think David might know it because he's called it stupid. So, yep, there you go. Good. No one ever knows.
Yep, correct.
Yeah. No.
All right. Congratulations.
I mean, well, then the nice thing about playing as JC Nile on Guilty Gear is not everybody knows it's me, even though I don't really hide it. But that way, I don't get a lot of people jumping into my Twitter going, "Hey, great games!" after they'd like destroy me and stuff like that. So.
Almost every time I play someone and they beat me, they hop in my lobby. Hey, GG's. GG's big fan. Shake my hand.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing as Twitch TV Tupperware. It's
I want it. I obviously want it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I obviously want it, but they do. The people like to come in and flex and then leave.
Yeah, of course.
Big fan, GG's.
House of Flying Swagger. I like that one too.
Nice,
okay.
That's a good one.
Jill Sandwich. No, it should be Jiddle Sandwich. Jiddle Sandwich. You almost became a Jiddle Sandwich.
The only good thing about the Street Fighter V, what is it called? The clan mode that they have is that I can't change my username, my CFN name, but I can change that. I can change that whenever. Dojo name you can change whenever you want. And I think that's something they may not have realized that people would do. But I change it all the time. Right now, it's burp with like 6 U's or something super dumb.
I mean,
it's just always different.
On the ICFC,
thanks to them for putting that loop at that. Anyway,
someone on ICFC EU always keeps changing his name. That's why when he plays, he'll be James Chen fan 420 and stuff like that whenever I'm commentating. So.
Oh yeah, one of my gamer tags was James Chen's Musk. That was a good one that lasted for some years.
James Chen's Musk?
Nobody knew about that until right now. I never told anybody until now. Now you guys know. Now the world knows. That was me.
I mean, David of all people would know all about it, dude. He would know about it better than anybody else. Just put it that way. So it's definitely on his mind a lot, I'm sure, So, there you go.
When are you going to admit that you were Scoop Newsman?
I wasn't, honestly.
I actually think I know who the real one is, but it's like Scoop Newsman was you personified. Like that's.
It was great. Whoever did it did a great job. They were very clever, and I always felt bad that I got fingered with that because that's not me, and I feel like they should have.
You got what with that? Let's end the stream. We're just David's vocabulary is degrading. Let's call it. That's GG's. We had a good one. Thanks for watching, guys.
David's definitely fingered something and ended up with James Chen's Musk, so
Oh no! This is why I wanted the stream to end.
Congratulations, everybody! Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
I have to go to bed with that image in my head.
You're welcome.
Nobody knew I was James Chen's Musk all along.
Oh, we knew.
I don't think anybody was surprised. Were you new James Chen on Twitter? Probably not. Okay.